Asmongold Orbiter Leaflit, okay, a VTuber who I have beefed with before, versus Nyara, someone who beefs with Asmongold about transgender related issues, and she is attacked all the time because of how cringe she is about her like thing, okay? But we'll see how they perform in a debate, okay? So these two people are not debaters, okay? But they're gonna be debating, dipping their toes into the realm of debating, okay? So naturally, I'm gonna expect them to suck donkey balls, okay?
Yeah. Know that you have like trans friends and relatives and so on, that you actually are more in the LGBTQ than they think. And you grew up on Tumblr.
Are you placed less today?
What I know.
No, I didn't grow up on Tumblr. My brother did, and I was kind of exposed to a lot of the thought there. So I kind of do understand a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
But maybe I don't, and maybe we can talk about like what the differences are there. Sorry, Caesar, you want to talk about the trans stuff first? Or...
Just so you guys know, like these people are like allergic to confrontation. Normally, these people are allergic to confrontation. So I'm actually glad that they're like actually fighting each other, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
It's useful to kind of have like a baseline understanding, because like you told me that you disagree with like some trans stuff, but you are also like, respectful and so on. So I'm kind of...
Doesn't look like fighting? No. I mean, they were like, oh yeah, let's just have a chit chat. It's very clear to me that they're gonna actually debate a little bit, right?
I do have like some baseline questions, just like some quick yes or no questions, so just like know where you stand and where we like fundamentally agree on.
How much do you guys want to bet that at least one of them has watched Destiny debate trans issues before hopping into this call? Because remember, these people are like obsessed with appearance, and they're obsessed with how they appear to their viewers and such. How much do you think that they have like watched one Destiny debate this issue before hopping in?
Like disagree?
I'm willing to put $100.
So
yeah, sure. And then I can ask the ones like just to make sure we're not like straw manning each other, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
You can go ahead and ask whatever. I'll answer it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want this to be like a gotcha. It's just like where what I need to address, right? Because like I know that I've heard that you...
Nyara did want to debate Asmongold. Well, because the reason why Asmongold goes after Nyara is because Nyara is a very yas queen kind of trans streamer. So naturally, like Asmongold never picks out hard fights, okay? Asmongold selectively fights the easiest targets because it makes him look good, right? Like for example, Asmongold will almost never respond directly to Steven in an engaged battle on Twitter because he knows that he'll lose and he knows that he'll look really stupid. But instead, Asmongold will pick out fights like with Nyara, who is like this caricature of like a cringe trans streamer person, okay? But yeah.
We are like more progressive, like that you kind of like your content has kind of like shifted over the last period.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I can answer that. So there's been a lot of people talking about this, but I've actually had the same beliefs for a very long time. At least 10 years. I'll say at least 10 years. I've had kind of these beliefs, and
ironically enough, it's been really good for Nyara. Okay, just because they are picked out specifically as that's a person, you piece of shit. Good one, Cha Cha. Okay, good bait. Okay, but specifically, like the way I kind of view it is Nyara has been benefiting a lot from Asmongold. Hopefully, like I would imagine that there has to be a lot of like beneficial shit to give a smaller streamer like Nyara. Not really that small, okay? 28,000 subscribers. I would say that's fairly larger than me at the very least, okay? But yeah.
I used to not talk about politics because everyone told me not to. But I was actually always interested in it. So my YouTube feed was always like kind of philosophical, political, sorts of content, debates, for instance. Like I really like debates, ideas, and this is because me and my friends, this is what we do in real life. Like me and my friends, this sounds kind of dumb, but like me and my friends will go out and we'll just debate, and that'll be like our idea of a good time is like eating food and debating, like stupid stuff, really, like just ridiculous things that have nothing to do with anything, but we would just debate it anyway. So late at night when I would play games, right, I would play I would do.
Can we not have like your life story? I just don't want any more Leaflit life stories. Like, to be frank, I think I've had enough Leaflit life stories. You have no idea how many Leaflit life stories I have listened to when I was beefing with Leaflit, if you can even call it a beef in the first place, because I just thought it was just really silly.
Talking.
Oh my god. Okay, don't care. Just get to the subject. Yeah. Okay.
Like easily dismiss them with woke feminist type of videos, and I just, because I didn't have like a lot of like social awareness and a lot of like context, I always, I thought like, oh, they're like irrational, so like I can just like easily dismiss them. And right now I'm just like, I'm viewing things in a different light.
Okay.
So,
I mean, that's good. It's always good to do that, I think.
yeah. Because I'm trans, I think a main point is obviously like my identity. So I'm just going to like ask you straight up, like, do you view me as a woman?
Okay. Well, I don't know you enough, so it's kind of hard for me to do that.
No,
I'll
come
respect it.
on.
Like, are we okay if I call you they? or
Nah,
something like that?
coward
Like,
answer. Coward
because I don't know
answer.
you.
Coward answer. Coward answer. Coward answer. Coward answer. Okay? Because everybody who worships Asmongold's cock will never ever, like, they'll be very hardcore on how transphobic they are. But I'm not sure. I'm a genuinely, actually, you know what? I'm gonna give her a chance, okay? But I'm not sure.
Enough.
Okay,
I don't really
we'll
know.
see.
Like,
what do I
your
need to
story, but
fulfill?
I'm not gonna call you a he.
Yeah, what do
Oh
like,
my
what
god. Oh my god. Okay. All right. You know what?
do I need to fulfill so you call me
Do you like
she?
that trigger?
Well, it's.
Okay.
I think for me, it's really just about how much I know a person. That's really all it is. Really, it's not really objective. It's like fully subjective. I think. I'm just being honest.
But only when it comes to trans people.
Oh god.
No. Well, it depends on my perception of the person, right? At least for me.
You are debating.
Do you call cis people?
Present
Okay.
a disagreement, please.
Sorry. Yeah, if I don't know, like if there's a person I don't know, then yeah, I'll say that. Yeah. If I don't really know like much about them, I call a lot of people they actually. Even people that are like kind of like more I know more. Well, how do I explain it?
Isn't the Leaflit person a trans person? I don't think so.
I've heard of them, but I don't really know them. But yeah.
Also, does my voice sound similar to Leaflit? Constantly, I'm being told that my voice sounds exactly like Leaflit's. There's no way, right? This is not true. Hopefully. The only reason why I discovered Leaflit in the first place, like back then, is because someone said, "Wait, is that Leaflit? Like you sound exactly like Leaflit, motherfucker! Shut the fuck up, okay?"
I don't really mind honestly calling you she. To be honest, it's not really a big deal for me.
You don't mind? Oh my god!
But like,
If that
there's
makes you
like
happy, I could do
something that
For the
I
context
would
of, like,
need to like
you know.
prove to you, so you call me like Shia.
Well, yeah, because I feel like what you call people is really kind of, and this one I haven't really like thought about like too much. I'm gonna be completely honest and like I'll be completely honest here. It's really just how I perceive the person, if that makes sense.
So you
Because,
put
like,
the
you
pronouns
use
into others.
You sorry, let me clarify
Yeah.
a little bit. You use pronouns, right, to basically replace like a person in your own language, right?
Oh my god! Just put the pronouns in the bag, blood.
The person's name.
Yeah. So for instance, right, like if I see a person and like I perceive them like in public, right? For instance, like if I couldn't tell at all, and then I met you in public, I wouldn't like look it up, right, to like misgender you or whatever. And I wouldn't even do it, even if I did know, right? So even if I did know about you, like I wouldn't do that just to be rude.
We're talking about your beliefs. We're talking about your beliefs, motherfucker. We're talking about your beliefs. What are your beliefs? Stop saying, "Oh, courtesy, common courtesy." Nobody cares about your courtesy, bro. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
So like, if you would see me in real life and
Yeah, I could use it like if we were friends, right? If we were close friends, and you told me that you wanted to identify as a woman, then I wouldn't. I'm not gonna go out with you in public and then be like he. It'd be awkward, right? It'd be like kind of messed up. I think I wouldn't do that.
So if we are friendly, then
Yeah, basically it comes down to so the reason I'm so kind of sticking on this one is I think for me it's I don't really want my language to be policed. Does that make sense?
I mean,
So it's like I want to say what I want
Wow.
about a person. Like,
Took it
like,
directly
for
from
instance, like
Asmongold.
if I and
Good
you
one.
might not agree with this, and people might not agree with this, but like I reserve the right, and I'm not saying this about you, but I'm just giving an example. Okay, I reserve the right to like call you a bitch, and then like you have the right to call me a bitch, and like I just how I feel about it, basically. It's not really complicated.
That is the worst
it, like,
word
speech
ever.
policing
Don't
to,
ever call me a bitch
tell
ever.
you my pronouns and like my identity.
Well, it depends. Basically, depends on like how it is. I think in the context of this one, I'm a little bit. I'm totally fine. Honestly, conceding this and just saying using female. I'm honestly fine with that. If that makes
Girl salty? Yes.
you happy.
I mean, no, I'm just like in general, I'm kind of like curious right now where you
Curious as
stand
to, like,
because
the reasoning behind it.
yeah, because
Oh.
like for me it's like obviously like someone's pronouns is just like a replacement for like someone's name, and if someone wants to be referred to as like he him because that's like their gender identity, or she her because that's like their identity, and like
So
I don't see a reason
okay.
why I should like judge and I should like be like no actually I am going to call you whatever like fits into my worldview, right? Like what I perceive, my perception determines like what I call you.
Okay. Nyara's argument is it's kind of like a nickname, right? Like if I don't, like you wouldn't ever say, "Oh, you look like a Mark," right? You look like a Mark, so I'm gonna call you Mark. Even though you say that your name is Sam, I'm gonna call you Mark, right? That's essentially what Nyara is saying. Okay.
Well, it's more like I could call you whatever I want, right? That's how I feel.
Because
about
that's
it.
silly.
I mean,
And I think
sure.
Well, no, not really, right? Because you wouldn't call Mark Bob just because they look like a Bob to you, right? Because that's kind of an asshole thing to do, no?
Yeah.
But it's like basic human decency, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, so that's what I said. Like if I knew you, we were friends, and we were on amicable terms, then I wouldn't mind using it. Is what I said. Right.
It's so weird.
Like, I don't really feel too strongly about it, to be honest. Like this particular
so
topic. Yeah, I think
strange.
the only thing that would bother me is if you asked me to use some weird words. That'd be a little bit iffy. On it.
What? Like what? Like xenogenders?
Because it's kind of imposing like a strange language that is going to be difficult to like parse, basically.
I mean, she,
Because then you
her
have to
used to be
remember
like a
each
neo
person, right?
pronoun.
No, well, that would be easy. Like she, her would be easy.
What? Okay. Wait. No. She, her used to be a neo-pronoun. Okay, I can get through this. I can do this. Okay,
I wouldn't
I'm
mind
strong.
Yeah, but
Actually,
it used to
I
be
know
like
a
a
lot
neo
of-
pronoun.
What do you mean by that?
Like,
I don't know.
you know, like neo pronouns, like seek, sim, or something. That is.
Oh my god, Nyara, if you throw this debate, I will be so mad, okay? If you search up other people's coverages of your debate, okay? If you throw this debate, I will blame you on behalf of all transgender people, okay? I do not believe in xenogenders. Xenogenders is a complete and utter, like, bad point to argue on, in addition to me not believing in it. Yeah, like, it's just so hard to argue that point. Like, you can't say, oh, well, gender is just simply like a nickname, right? You can't just say, oh, well, pronouns are just a nickname. You have to rely on something a lot more substantial, like medical diagnoses, right? Or, yeah, just stuff like not medical diagnoses. You can't just say, because you can't, fuck. There are two ways you can argue this. One is either, well, I mean, gender is not a thing in the first place, right? You can either argue that gender is not a thing, so therefore I don't really see a reason to adhere to gender. Or you can argue, well, it's a medical thing. So you need to do what is medically good or sound, right? But yeah, anyway.
But she, her used to be. Like, instead of you calling someone here, you're calling them she or sir or whatnot. They or fair.
Oh,
that is like what you refer to with like
no.
weird words, I guess, right?
Yeah.
But like, you know, at some point, everybody was just being referred to as he, him. So she, her used to be like some new thing.
I'm not in
no, I mean, you mean she, her used to be like, it used to be back in the day, and like old, like I guess whenever the language was invented, like they would use different words.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
just like how language evolves. Like you know.
You go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. No, it's fine.
Oh, I was gonna say basically, those words, like, they're not really used by many people, and a lot of the times people will use very specific personal ones. And I think, and not only that, it's also, and you know, this is kind of a separate issue. It's just the entire like, I feel like the entitlement behind it, of like, you have to call me this. I'm just not a fan of that. So like one thing I will like say straight up is a lot of my angle is like liberty. So I've kind of like a freedom angle, which is why I agree that you should be able to do whatever you want when you're an adult.
I mean,
same thing.
Sure, but like, I don't really understand like how it's like difficult to like respect someone's pronouns. Like I just don't understand like the angle. Like it doesn't take anything away from me, right?
I understand what you mean. So it's not
I have
really
restless leg syndrome.
So you said that.
Let me shake my leg.
It's about respecting the other person, right?
I mean, it's human.
That's the issue. Like, it's easy to respect them, right? The other person.
Sure.
Well, I guess for me, it's I don't respect people right away, and maybe that's like a difference that we have.
The thing is, like, I feel like the difference is that like you just perceive trans people differently than like a cis person. If you meet like a stranger on the street and they are just like a cis woman and they present traditionally like feminine and so on, you're just going to like assume she, her. And for trans people, they have to like earn this right, this privilege to be called by their pronouns.
So actually, specifically in this case, if it was just she, her pronouns, I actually wouldn't care. Like I'd use it, honestly.
But when it comes to something
with many people before,
okay.
Well, it's because I know very little about you, right? It's like I don't really know what you're about. I don't want to make a mistake. Which is why I would totally be fine with just saying like, okay, you know what, fair enough, and then I could just use your preferred pronouns if that makes you happy. Just out of courtesy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like something like a privilege that I need to like earn.
But the furthest that I can probably argue is I don't really have a problem using they them for one person. I don't. Okay, like if you're not sure what someone's gender is, but I feel as though I can't personally do the xenogenders thing. Like if someone says like, okay, I identify by favor, okay, I would be um like I would struggle. Like maybe I would say it just so that I can get through the fucking conversation, because I don't want to, like, depending on who it is, right? Because if I just want to quickly get through the conversation, you know what? I'm just gonna say the xenogender because I don't want to interact with you again, okay? If 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 we are in a prolonged interaction, okay? Prolonged interaction, okay? I don't know if I would be able to resist not bringing it up, okay? That's just me personally, okay? But yeah.
I see what you mean. That it's a privilege that you have to earn.
Yeah.
Well, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I think it's different when you're in person. Because I don't think I do that in person, actually, now that I think about it. Like, if I think about it, like, for serious. Like, if I met a trans person in person and they were clearly, you know, it was easy to tell that, like, they were
I
actually
think it's
trans.
only
They weren't
internet
like,
thing. Yeah.
they weren't like a drag.
What are you yapping about? Cha-Cha, what the fuck has gotten into you? Why the fuck are you hating so hard in fucking Kick Chat? You know what? Okay, I'm just gonna ban you for a week. Bye. Jesus, dude, chill out.
Perform or something like that, for instance.
That's not
right?
Cha-Cha?
I don't
Oh.
think I would mind using.
Wait, that's
whatever
not
pronouns I
Cha-Cha?
want. But then, you know, obviously, like,
Wait, if it's not Cha-Cha, then wait, hold on. On timeout, ban. Okay, there you go. Boom. Okay, you can always appeal later.
if I fuck up, I would expect, you know, a little bit
Aye.
of grace, you know.
I mean, of
Then I don't
course,
think
like
I
if
would
you
I don't really
that.
mind.
like,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah, fair enough.
naughty him
I
all the
don't think I would
time.
mind, actually.
Weirdo.
I don't think I would mind, actually. You know, fair enough.
It's just
It's
like
not really like an important thing to me.
like for me, it just like sounds like some underlying like the root cause. Like I would just say like the root cause of it is like transphobia, like to not view that trans women as like real
Imposter.
women. Like they have to prove
Uh-huh.
to you that they are like
Well,
that they
I guess
deserve.
I guess
to be
this is the
called women.
question is I don't know. I don't know nowadays, right? Because I feel like a lot of the how do I explain it?
Wait, why do you want to reach out for a conversation if you do not know, right? Like that's another thing I'm wondering. Why did you reach out to a conversation if you don't even have like I don't know, more of a solid stance on things? Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like, and this is, if I can ask, how long were you? How long have you been? What's the word? Transitioned.
Also, you know what's crazy is that when they're on their own streams, typically these anti-woke people, they go crazy mode. They go super crazy mode when it comes to debating, right? Sorry, not debating. When it comes to expressing their beliefs about trans people, like they're super transphobic. But then the moment that they're in front of a crowd or they're like actually confronting the person, they're like the shyest, most like withdrawn, most like careful people ever. It's so cucked. It's so cucked. It's the same thing with like it's the fuck. It's the same thing with Tectone, right? Do you guys remember when Tectone and Destiny had a talk? But it wasn't gonna be a talk because they were beefing with each other beforehand on Twitter, and they were beefing pretty damn hard, right? Like, you went at me on Twitter with a different energy than when you were going at me in person. Because in person, oh, I just want a conversation. Oh, I just want to chill. I just want to have a conversation. But then the moment that after this conversation is over, Leaflit will probably just go right back to like fucking bashing them again, right? Like that's so cucked. That's such a cucked way of doing everything. I don't know. Like I don't know. I just don't really like it when people do that. I don't really like it when people are just like they're just scared. They're just fucking scared. By the way, I just want to let you guys know that Leaflit is the person who reached out to Nyara, okay? Yeah, just so we're clear on who reached out to who first. Like, why the fuck would you even do this if you're not even sure about what the fuck you're talking about?
If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer if it's too uncomfortable.
I came out with 22. I've been dealing with gender
Hello? Why are you so
dysphoria
nice?
for like my entire life, and I started medically
many years?
transitioning at 25. I mean, I
Okay,
knew
so
at like
about-
7 years old, so like 22 years ago.
Okay. Oh, so I mean, but you've gone through it for about 3 years, correct?
I've been medically transitioning for 3 years.
Okay. Well, I think so. I feel maybe How do I explain this?
These people are the kinds of people who would have a heart attack trying to order pizza over the phone, okay? I'm calling it right now. These people are the kinds of people who would have a heart attack trying to get an order from Pizza Hut, all right? They're like, yeah, can I have the can I have the garlic Parmesan cheese? God.
So back in the day, this is kind of like a boomer moment here, but back in the day, there were a lot more
By the way, I'm pretty sure both of these people are also older than me, okay? Just so you know. Keep in mind, everybody I laugh at who are acting like kids, again, they are like 30s and 40s, okay? Or late or late, very late 20s, okay? Everybody in this space I'm laughing at is like all fucking people who are older, okay? Because people just don't know how to act.
There were a lot
like
more
people, I guess.
like standards, a lot more critiquing into like a person's identity before they were able to do any sort of medical transition, like back in the day. And I know that's still the case nowadays. It's just not as heavy as it was before. Can we agree on that?
Thank you, Obama.
So the thing is like why trans people were expected to be transitioning is because of like the misunderstanding between gender and sex, and it was basically expected that like if you want to be a woman, you have to medically transition, and then you can call yourself a woman if you're female, right? If you're closer aligned with the female sex, then you can claim you're a woman, and that's basically like trans medicalism. It's the same with like expecting to have like the gender dysphoria as like a diagnosis. It also completely invalidates like non-binary people and so on. So there's just like a lot of like.
No, it does not. I'm a trans medicalist, and I do not invalidate non-binary people just mainly because non-binary people can also feel dysphoria. Okay, you're already going off of the presumption that non-binary people do not feel dysphoria. So I just don't know what I would tell you in that context. Like I don't know. Like again, this is a difference of opinion. Trans medicalist is the easiest position to argue for if you want to argue trans issues with conservatives, okay? The last thing you want is to go into a debate with a like with a right-winger. The last thing you want is to go into a debate with a right-winger where you just immediately open up with like neo-pronouns and shit, okay? They're gonna laugh at you, okay? They're not gonna take you seriously, and you're gonna look really stupid, okay? Again, the best way to argue this shit is by saying, okay, well, I think that, yeah, the best way to talk about the subject is, hey, by the way, I think that this is a medical issue, okay? That's the best way to talk about the subject, is by arguing it as a medical issue.
There's a lot of like nuance to it, especially considering how expensive medically transitioning is. And like some people, like dysphoria is not just like a black or white thing, like it is a gradient. Like some people are more dysphoric about certain things. Like I had severe dysphoria because of my anatomy, so I had bottom surgery last year. There are a lot of trans women who don't want that.
I'm trying to get that.
And I think that's like completely valid. Like it doesn't take away anything from them being women because their gender identity is still that of a woman. Right?
Okay. Can I ask you a simple question, just to kind of so that we're talking about the same thing? Like, how would you define a trans person?
Someone whose gender identity doesn't match their assigned sex at birth.
So
it's enough. I mean, like, it's not that bad. Like, I would disagree with that and just say it's not just not assigned at birth, but you actually have a medical condition, right? Like,
can you define sex for me?
I mean, it kind of depends how you go about it. Gender is basically like, or like sex at birth is basically like observed when it comes to like the phenotype, and it's like bimodal. But like you can like medical field and so on isn't actually like sure if what is like the best thing because it's like really difficult because of like intersex people existing and so on to be like, oh, chromosomes, oh, XX chromosome, XY chromosomes, or like gametes or so on. But yeah,
so like, can I just to clarify, because I'm not, I just want to make sure I'm getting your point right. So you actually see you believe that there's a difference between sex and gender. You see gender as the expression, and you see sex as the actual like physical, physical biological sex. Is that how you're referring to it? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, gender expression is a thing, but like gender is like it's like a social construct, but it is also like closely aligned,
How about
obviously,
sex,
with your biological sex. Like sex
So,
for me is like
Cute little blue
your
scarf you have.
your
Thank you.
body's like the phenotype, reproductive organs, and so on.
So I won't use you as an example because I don't want to get into that. But let's say there's a person that is a female to male transsexual. Okay, and so do you
Transgender?
believe that their sex is still female? Yes, transgender. Sorry, whatever term. Would you consider their sex to still be female?
It kind of depends if they medically transitioned. So okay, when it comes to transitioning, right? You got your genotype, you got the XX chromosomes, XY chromosomes, and so on. You can't change that, right?
Okay.
You got your phenotype. You can change your
Hello, says you. I can change my chromosomes anytime I want to. Okay?
phenotypical sex. Like
Loser.
that's how bottom surgery works. You can change your hormonal levels, right? Like if you go on HRT, your hormones are changing, adjusting, and what else? Obviously, like when it comes to like gametes, you can nullify them. Right now, we do not have like the technology to basically have like someone with like male reproductive organs to switch to someone having female reproductive organs with like large gametes and whatnot. But like I do not produce any gametes, so they're basically null. They don't exist. So if you go through like the medical transitioning, you get closer to the other sex.
But it wouldn't be biological though, right? Like you would still be like the in the example I gave, the female to male transgender would still be.
It's rare that I ever hear a German with a Nazi accent. Usually Germans online have a weird British accent. What the fuck are you talking about?
First of all, I have to ask: is there do you think there's a difference between the term transsexual and transgender?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, transsexual is like an outdated term, and it comes from transmedicalism. Basically, like you are changing your sex, right?
Which you don't think is possible.
Like what?
I mean, you get close to the other sex depending on like what your
right?
Just a regular German
it depends
accent.
what your goalpost is.
Like their I guess the
like is your goalpost in order to like for like an MTF trans person that they are like quote unquote biological women requires them to be able to get pregnant.
I don't think so, because I feel like there are women included. There are biological women included in the category of people that can't get pregnant.
Yeah, so exactly. So it's not a requirement for someone to be a woman.
The ability to get pregnant?
To get pregnant, yeah, and give birth.
Oh yeah, I never claimed that.
Yeah, I'm just like, so it is just.
Well, I'm not even sure like what claim. I'm not even sure what claim Leaflit has in the first place, right? I guess like Nyara is like going down the typical talking points for arguing for on her side, right? But I'm not even sure like what Leaflit's position is, to be honest, right? Like I can assume that Leaflit is probably going to have some really extreme, like her true positions are probably pretty extreme, right? Like that's my assumption, but that's only an assumption, right? Because I'm not even sure like what position she even has in the first place.
It's like when it comes to like the hormonal level, you can change that, right? That's how puberty works. That's how, transitioning in that sense works. Why it works is because we're still part of the same species, and depending on like your dominant hormone, you're going to get changes that like reflect the others.
Maybe they are having just a discussion.
Sex. So, yeah, I believe like biologically, trans women are women because
of emulation, correct?
What do you mean?
Like it's still an emulation of like basically, a FTM is trying to emulate like a biological male, correct? But it's not quite the same. Like even the technology isn't there.
Okay. I think I understand the position. I think I actually have Leaflit's position. No. I think yeah, because you're just basically saying, oh no, like transgender people are still not exactly the same as transgender people are not exactly the same as the actual cis people, right? Which is why the distinction is made in the first place, right? I agree with that. Yeah, I actually think I would agree with that, right? Like, obviously, because both groups of people have different biological issues, right? Like, the fact that an entire group of people can have a different set of biological issues should matter, right? Because you want to make that distinction when doctors want to treat you, right? You want to make that distinction because whether or not you're cis or trans depends on, for practical purposes, the doctor should know, right? So yeah, there is a distinction between treating trans woman issues and cis woman issues, right? Obviously, of course. Yeah, I would even argue that a lot of trans woman issues are entirely different from like even cis male issues, or even trans male issues, or cis woman issues. It's just entirely within a realm of its own, right? In a way. Yeah? Yeah, I don't know. Okay.
Like I would say, like for instance, like let me just to go on the flip side a little bit, just to explain my point. Say we're in the future, right? And we had like the capability of like actually completely changing everything, right? Like the chromosomes and everything. Like I think maybe then you could say that it would be the same thing. But I think like right now it isn't. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, by the way. I just want to be clear. I don't think that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying that like you're disgusting because you're like.
Okay, I want to be serious, okay? I think that Leaflit's position is so far understandable. I don't think that there's really any real issue with Leaflit's position right now, but it could get crazier later on. I'm not entirely sure whether or not it'll get crazier. So who knows? We'll see.
I mean, emulation is like a rough word. It is just like a man who happened to be born female and is transitioning to male. And yes, we do not have the technology to change one's gametes or chromosomes, but it's not required for a FTM, like a trans man to experience male puberty, which you can like induce through hormones.
Okay, so I can go down a little.
Yeah, but it's not exactly the same as male puberty, right? Like someone who is born a female, assigned female at birth, but then goes through HRT and develops more masculine features. That's still not the same as cis male puberty, right? Like, let's be very clear about that, no? Because there's going to be some things that are excluded, some things that are included, right? You're not going to gain the ability to have a boner, okay? Well, actually, you do, kind of, okay? Yeah, I'm pretty sure the fucking clitoris gets enlarged because of testosterone, HRT, or some shit. But I'm not entirely sure, all right? But it's still not exactly the same. It's just not.
Thread here just to kind of gauge how you feel about it.
Is Leaflit a Gavin Newsom? No, Leaflit is like a far right VTuber, okay? If you wonder like what Leaflit's like fucking positions are, or something, Leaflit is like straight up like neo-Nazi adjacent, okay? Like Trump is hauling immigrants back to like the fucking camps. Like Trump is like blackbacking immigrants and shit, and Leaflit is like, oh my god, yes, I fucking love this shit. Basically, they're just copying everything that Asmongold does, okay? So yeah, no, Leaflit is just a Asmongold skinwalker in the sense of like copying their mannerisms and shit, and also adopting their positions. And like this is like one of the many VTubers who are like simps of Asmongold, okay? So that's who Leaflit is. I feel like this entire topic would be void if the full change was possible and no one can stay in the in-between gender. Yes, you're correct.
Things, right? So you say that you can get surgery, right? So at what point would you say that a person is because since you believe that you can switch, right? You can at least get close. At what level do you think is the point at which the person should be considered the other sex? Just out of curiosity. Like for the purposes of like society, right? Because we live in society, and then there's issues of privacy. People men want privacy from women want privacy from men. That's just kind of how society is structured.
This is a different topic.
Right? Sure. So I mean, it kind of depends what your criterion is. Like, I have no issues calling viewing a trans man as a man even before transitioning, even before doing any like medical thing. But when it comes to like, biological,
I wouldn't even. I don't think I agree. Like, I wouldn't be rude. I would still refer to them as like the correct pronouns, but I don't think I could ever refer a pre-transition trans woman either as like fully a woman, right? Like if you're entirely pre-transition, you never took any steps. Like if you haven't took any steps to transition, of course I'm going to be a little bit skeptical, right? If you haven't took any steps to transition, like if you're assigned female at birth, of course I'm going to be a little skeptical, right? Of course, because I don't know if you're doing this as a trend or not, right? Because you want to feel cool. So yeah, of course, like that would make me wonder, like, yeah, of course. Holy stutter. Wait, is it actually stuttering? My stream is lagging and Leaflit? Like, is it... Do you think a lot of VTubers are right-leaning or straight-up transphobic? Yeah, of course. VTubing has had a kind of far-right bend. Not a conservative slash far-right bend, except for some other spaces, I think. But yeah, generally speaking, I don't know. Like, all the VTuber dramas that I've seen is just pretty nuts. Yeah, like the entire VTubing community going in on this like black YouTuber because the black YouTuber says you get a lot of you motherfuckers are racist, and then I don't know, you just see a bunch of VTubers like saying some like cute, using a cute voice to say like blatantly racist things like LTG like tier things. Yeah.
Like the sex of someone, like obviously if you go on HRT and you go through like male puberty and so on, like I have no issues with, like, I wouldn't... You're basically asking me at what point I would call a trans man a male? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. So like for the purposes of like society, right? Because we have
in what context
male and female for spaces, basically, right? For spaces. Like
for
sports,
spaces?
things like that.
I mean, okay, sports, I know that like the criterion is HRT. Like your gender.
Oh no, what? Why is... Dude, Nyara is like picking the hardest battles to fight. If you want to argue about trans people in sports, and if you want to argue about like xenogenders, it's possible to present a good argument for any of these topics, but you can't have the usual talking points, okay? The usual talking points fucking suck, okay? I don't know. You got to be really careful when you're talking about like these topics. Like my recommendation is just to never talk about these topics. You just shouldn't, right? Until you've gotten a lot of the basics out of the way first, you just typically should not talk about the subject whatsoever. Yeah. And I don't even agree with this topic. Like I don't even agree with these takes either. Yeah, I don't know. Like these are just really hard topics to talk about. You can not lead the horse to the water. Yeah.
Genitalia doesn't play a role. So if
putting trans before woman kind of lets you know the person might not be a woman, but most likely not a biological one. Exactly. Yeah. No, it necessitates it, right? The entire function of language is to present a difference, right? The entire function of language is to present a difference. Yeah.
Let me back up a bit. What is your criteria? What is your criteria for a... So you said that a person can switch, right? They can be close enough, right? Because again, like we've established, like there's nothing you can do about the biological stuff right now. Right, can we agree on that? Like, right now, you can't really do much about it.
HRT is part of the biological stuff. It's just you cannot change anything about the chromosomes or gametes.
Okay, so about the chromosomes and gametes, then, so there is a difference then, right, between, I guess, a biological...
Is it the hippies on you? Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah, the thing is like biological...
FDM, right?
Like if you say like the word biological in reference to like trans people, like we are not artificial, we are not like cyborgs or anything.
Oh, no,
like everybody, like we're all like biological. So it's kind of like it comes from like transphobic language. So it's like a little bit difficult for me to just like, you know, accept that terminology. So
why would I?
I can see that, but like it's not really. It's just for the sake of like reality, right? For the sake of describing reality. Right? So like for instance, like, you know, we would call like a trans person a trans person for a reason, because there's meaning behind it. There's meaning that can be taken from...
Okay, Leaflit basically said my point, right? Yeah. Dude, I can't believe I actually agree more with Leaflit in this fucking debate. Fuck me, dude. What are these two retards on VR chat debating? They're debating trans issues. One of them is an Asmongold orbiter or Asmongold dick sucker, okay? But like ironically enough, the Asmongold dick sucker is like has the views that I kind of agree with, right? Or the skepticism that I agree with. Like they might be like Nyara is like bringing up completely like really hard, like these reasons are really hard to debate for, right? I'm talking about things like I'm talking about things like trans women in sports and xenogenders. These are extremely hard topics to debate for, but Nyara is the one bringing them up and making the battle harder for herself. Yeah, I don't know, like
from that phrase, right? So it's an issue of
So
meaning, right?
instead of like the opposite of trans is not biological, it's cis. So if you describe like if you want to compare like trans men to cis men, I think that's like easier for me instead of like trans men versus biological men or real men or whatnot.
But it is biological though, right? It is an
Everything
issue of
is
biology, correct?
I mean everything is like biological, but like the opposite of trans is cis.
The opposite of trans is cis.
Yeah, someone whose gender identity matches their
Bro, this is all over the place. Like, they cannot keep on topic. I feel like instead of honing in on one topic, there is a lot of things being brought up that is not needed to be brought up in the first place, right? Like, in my opinion, there's just... Yeah, like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's like not much is being said just simply because it's all over the place. But I don't really blame them. Like, I know I've been way more mean, like earlier on, right? Like, I know I've been meaner, but to be honest, like, I wouldn't put that much like pressure on people who are new to debating, right? Because I haven't performed well at all, right? When it comes to initial debates, right? I'm not good at debating in the first place, but obviously over time I have to pick up like more practical skills, right? When it comes to debating. But yeah, I don't know. Like, this is it is rough to see. I will say that. I'm guessing people like Nyara feel morally compelled to bring up the hardest arguments first. Like, they try to only have the easy arguments, they're throwing their fellow trans under the bus. Yeah, kind of, right? Yeah. Debating is hard. You actually understand the topic. Well, I mean, everybody can like backseat debate, right? Everybody goes like, well, why don't you just like bring up this subject? Well, bro, you will not understand. You will not understand until you are the one put in the hot seat. You do not understand like the true feeling of debating until you are the one being put in the hot seat. And I think that just what happens all the time.
That's
so,
X.
Anyway.
But you're understanding that there's a difference, correct?
Of course, like trans men are not cis men.
So is the issue that that people have specifically? Like, what is the issue specifically with the differentiation?
It is basically like saying they are gay men and real men and normal men. Gay man versus men.
The language of normal, basically. The language of normal biological.
That is like kind of what it comes
bad,
from.
Basically.
It is basically, I mean, it doesn't feel bad. It's just like objectively false. It is just the fact that like the terminology is basically to basically invalidate gender identity and like the difference between gender and sex and bring it to like, it is like calling me a biological male instead of a trans woman.
I think the reason why is because just in terms of language, when people speak as to the biology, it has to do with. I think people see it as like.
I think, you know what? For as terminally online as VTubers are, or as weird as some of these people are, like, these people are strange people, okay? VTubers, right? You would never expect VTubers to, I don't know, be anywhere, right? But like, if two coworkers were having an argument over trans people, I think this is what it would look like. Yeah. If two normie coworkers were having a discussion over their disagreements about trans people, it would naturally be all over the place, right? Like, most disagreements IRL are all over the place. They cannot stay on a single issue. They cannot stay on a single topic. It will always happen like this, right? Where, oh, now it's to transports, now it's to something else, now it's to something else. Just simply because Leaflit mentioned debating her friends IRL, I guess. Debating your friends IRL is not the same as actually confronting someone in a debate like Steven does, right? Or the way that I do things, right? That's not the same. These are not the same, right? Because typically when it comes to actual debate between streamers, we're talking about something that is comprehensive over one point. Okay? There is one point that we disagree on, but we're going to be comprehensive over that one point. But the way that most normies debate and people who disagree debate is that they will be as wide as an ocean, but it's an inch deep, right? Because you'll go over many subjects, but you will fail to elaborate on a lot of them, or don't have the opportunity to elaborate on a lot of them. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you've just kind of not addressed anything, right? Because you went over all of these topics, but to what? To what? You haven't gotten to a single point, right? I feel like that's what's happening right now, where when I debate, I only focus in on one single point or disagreement, and I veer us back into that path afterwards, right? If we ever veer off of topic. But for people who are new to debate, right, who are new to disagreeing, they're going to be all over the place, right? And when you're in the position of debating directly, you are not going to catch yourself doing it until after you rewatch the debate, right? Does it make sense? Usually it's a conservative bringing up a million topics, but now it's coming from Nyara. No, I mean, it's coming from anybody who, yeah. Like, for example, if somebody were to argue, oh, why do you think Trump is bad, right? Like, I would just focus in on a single point, right? Like, I don't even need to go to every point on why Trump is bad. I would just list off a bunch of points, and they would pick one that they disagree with, and I would just hone in on that one specific point from then on, right? Like, I wouldn't go over each reason why I think Trump is bad. I would list off a list of why I think Trump is bad. They typically have a disagreement with one point, and then we are both arguing now on that one point, right? That's typically how it should go, right? If you want to make an argument like that. It would be so static to walk in the middle of an inch-deep ocean, like an anime character walking on water or farming. Yeah, sure.
How you were born, basically. Right?
Yeah,
the
which
biological
is
reality. So like we can try to, again, like I said, we can try to change that as much as we can, like through science. In the same way, like you can do plastic surgery, right, to change like how you look.
Sure. So I just like
surgery.
I would prefer if like for the sake of like make it easier and clearer, instead of calling cis men biological men, you just call them cis men.
Inch deep ocean is a great analogy. Yeah.
Is that okay?
So so this is all an issue of so this is an issue of like feelings, basically.
Oh yeah, by the way, when I look at debates in my server, like in my community, ironically enough, they're kind of the same too, where they go across like 50 different topics and nobody ever gets anywhere, right? And typically people loop all the time without realizing that they're actually looping. That's what I noticed from my own community whenever I listen to a debate on my own server. Yeah, wider than the ocean, as deep as a puddle is the saying. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Because if yeah, I mean, again, this is like one of the few reasons why someone like a seasoned debater would be far better than someone who is an amateur debater, right? Because you need to be able to hone in on a single point and keep yourself focused, right? Because it's so easy in the middle of a debate to veer off into different topics. Yeah, you'll notice that even Steven does this, where he would even let some misinformation slide, right? Does that make sense? Like when somebody is responding back to Steven would actually let a lot of misinformation slide when in that response, because honing in on one point is more important than addressing every single piece of misinformation that they just said in their response. Does that make sense on why that is being done?
Like
right?
it hurts the feelings to be categorized as outside of, like, say, we'll just use woman. So to be categorized from outside of like that word specifically, because you wouldn't have a problem. And sorry if I'm speaking to you. If you want, I can speak to as someone else, and we can use that.
No, you can talk about me.
But so you have no problem with being called a trans woman, though, right?
Yeah.
You have no problem with that, but you have a problem with someone saying that you're biologically not that?
Yeah, because it's factually like incorrect. Like I'm still a biological woman.
This is yes and no. This is yes and no, okay? I know where Nyara is coming from. I know the argument that is going to be made, okay? Because when you take HRT, you are getting closer and closer to being a biological woman, right? I know this argument. Basically, the more you take, as you take HRT over time, you're going to be moving closer and closer to being a biological woman, but you'll never get there completely, right? Which is fine. That's okay, right? You don't need to get all the way there completely to alleviate all gender dysphoria. You don't, okay? And this is like part of the delusion that some trans women have, is that they think that they have to get all the way there when you don't need to get all the way there, right? Yeah, okay.
I'm still human, right?
Well,
I'm not a cyborg.
I see in here. I think it's an issue of semantics, really.
Bro, the German.
So the thing is, like,
because I think most people don't see it that way. Most people, when they talk about biological woman, they think of a woman in terms of, how do I explain it in an airtight way?
It's for practical usage and the common idea that most people have when the word is being brought up. Because when the word woman is being brought up, it is being brought up in such a way where, right, when the word woman is being brought up, it is being brought up in such a way where you're talking, the first thing that pops into your mind is a cis woman, not a trans woman, a cis woman, right? Does that make sense? When you mention the word female or woman to somebody, the first thing that pops into their mind, once again, is not a trans woman. It is a cis woman, okay? Yeah, Leaflit is talking about the practicality of language. Anyway,
they think of a woman in terms of, a human female, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Have you watched that scene?
So the thing is, like, the term biological woman,
I don't remember,
reducing trans people to their gametes, etc. Like that is basically like transphobic rhetoric. That is like the root of these things, and I do not want to like normalize this. And it's also it is sociologically and it's scientifically, like in biology and whatnot. It's like not accurate to use these terms, and it's basically in order to like other and justify othering of trans people.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have a question, and it's kind of meme, but like I 100% don't mean it in a meme way. Like I swear I'm not trying to meme. It is a meme question, but like I want to know, for the sake of definition, what would you consider to be a woman? What is a woman?
Okay. Let me.
That's not an offensive question.
So, a woman is a societal category of gender, which is typically attributed to the adult human female.
What is a woman? What is one way that you can put that question without looking like a retard? What is one way to answer that question without looking like you're trying too hard? Right? Well, sometimes you can't, okay? A woman, what is a woman is, it's a vague idea of feminine features. A vague person, a vague human with feminine features. With obviously feminine features. Make sense? That is a woman, okay? That is the best way you can explain it without coming off as a cringe lord. Okay, you can say, "Oh, it's the sociological, social construct of, X and Y, whatever." Okay, but the moment that you go there, you sound retarded. Okay, you sound like you're some kind of wokey retard. Okay, you need to go. A woman is just someone I would like to fuck. Okay, it's that simple. Turn into a joke, a woman is like your mom who I slept with all last night. Yeah, sure, but I've heard this and I've never forgotten it, okay? 2 years ago, I had a debate with someone, or a discussion with someone on like what is a woman, all right? And I think one of the things that they have said is a woman to me is someone I would like to fuck. And I thought about it, I was like, oh, that's retarded. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and I'm like, wait a second. You are a fucking genius. I don't know where you got that, but you are a fucking genius. Why? Because that is someone who is vaguely female, right? Shares female attributes, okay? Shares feminine features enough to the point where you feel fine in fucking them, right? That is a woman. Someone who shares some degree of female characteristics, features, and whatnot, right? Someone who is a blob in your head. However, it's a blob with hips, boobs, and a pretty face, right? That's typically what most people think of when they think of a woman, okay? A vague blob ditto, okay, with boobs, hips, and a pretty face, okay? That is what people think of when they think of women. Okay, that is what a woman is. So therefore, you can fit transgender people inside of that category. The reason why Nyara should use this is because it fits into that category, right? You can fit transgender people inside of that category of women, yeah? Because it's someone who is vaguely female, has hips, boobs, and a pretty face, right? Depending, okay, it really depends. Someone who shares some degree of characteristics in like a Venn diagram, right? Such a Gunnar take. Yeah, but the Gunnar take led to an actual take, right? It's so good. It's just so good, you know? What is a chair? Does a chair have to have 4 legs? Does a chair have to have 3 legs? Wait, but what about chairs? Can a seat be called a chair? Right? Again, but we all agree that a chair is like when nobody disagrees over what is a chair, right? Even if chairs have differentiating features, right? So it's the same thing. It's something that you sit on. Yeah, something that you can park that ass on. Okay? Yeah. That's it.
Someone who identifies with this.
It's
As an
fucking
adult
genius.
human female.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a person that identifies as a woman is a person that identifies as an adult human female.
This is not a good definition, okay? Fuck. It's so weird to watch like amateur debaters struggle through a debate. Like it's so weird, like feeling. It's so weird watching amateur debaters like struggle through a debate because it's like because I know that there are better arguments that you can make. Yeah.
Someone who basically identifies with this societal construct
Like,
that is
they're
typically
just straight up-
associated and attributed
Yeah, there are better
to
points you can make.
the adult human female.
It is what it is, though.
Okay, so what is an adult human female?
Yeah, like obviously
I'm
there's
really
gonna
not
be a
memeing, by
next
the way.
question,
I'm
right?
actually trying to define this so that we can have
Like this is
deeper
literally
conversation
the
about it.
next. Yeah.
I know it sounds kind of meme. I'm really not.
So, I mean, a grown human.
By the way, okay, this is what you look like. This is what you look like if you don't actually practice debating, okay? Debating is something that you need to upkeep, okay? Debating is something that you need to practice consistently so that you don't lose your grip, okay? It's not like muscle memory. It's really not like muscle memory where you can return back to it at a later time and you would still understand how to do it, right? Like riding a bike. For example, I can go ahead and ride a bike right now because even though I haven't ridden one for years, just simply because I have the muscle memory for it, right? However, when it comes to debating, I think it's an active skill that you have to work on all the time, in order to upkeep it, okay? And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of important. Yeah, it reminds me of the understandable side of Jordan Peterson before he tripped balls on benzos or whatever. He'd call his students what they prefer and not be compelled by law. Okay. When last did you do a real debate? I don't know, pretty recently. Like, whenever somebody calls in and has a disagreement, that is technically a debate, right? Like a real debate.
Who was assigned to female sex, who produces, like, you know, female gametes, large gametes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So according to that, then would you say that a trans woman wouldn't be an adult human female?
I mean, okay. It wouldn't impact whether or not someone is a woman, right? Like a trans woman just needs to, like, it's like a social construct, and you have like certain things that are attributed to those of the female sex. Like, it kind of depends, like, what you consider to be female again, and what do you like what do you view as like valid? Because like intersex people exist, right? If you are saying, oh, an adult human female is someone with XX chromosomes, well, they are males with XX chromosomes, right? When the SRY gene that is like responsible for one's gonads to drop in the womb is located on the X chromosome. That happens, right? So obviously the genotype is not, it doesn't matter, right? It can't be used as like an invalidation. Yeah.
But that wouldn't affect like for instance, that wouldn't because I think we would consider that to be an anomalous issue. Like, for instance, right? Like, if you have humans, right? Humans are we're born in a certain way usually, right? Like if a person is missing an arm, it doesn't mean that humans don't have arms, right? If a person is born with an arm, it doesn't mean that like humans don't have arms, right? It's just
well, yeah, but like again, when we think of a human, right? When we think of a human, we are thinking about someone who has arms, right? Does that make sense? Like, obviously, there will be exceptions, but generally, when we think of a human, we are thinking of a person with arms. We are thinking of a human being with arms, right? Like, of course, we'd never ever discredit a human being without arms to be outside of the human category, right? However, when we do think of a human generally, we are thinking of someone with an arm, yeah?
It's a genetic anomaly,
sorry.
Right? And I'm not saying it's bad, by the way. I'm not saying it's
bad.
But
are you saying that like someone who has like a missing arm is not human?
No. I didn't say that trans people aren't human though.
So a requirement to be a human is not to have arms.
No, to be like to be. Hold on, can you say that again? Sorry?
Like, it's not a requirement to be human. Like, for a human to have arms to be considered human.
No.
So the thing is, like, when you are using like the norm, the 99%, in order to like make a definition, and you're saying, oh, every woman has XX chromosomes, and then someone comes along and breaks that rule, that means the definition is by default false.
Well, no, they would be they would be, I guess, if there was the person that had like a chromosomal anomaly, we would say that, let's say that they basically were a woman, right? So we would say that they're a woman with an intersex condition. In the same way, I would say that it would be like a trans woman, right? It's like a different thing.
I think Nyara's onto something with this humans have two arms argument. Yeah, sure. No, this is a good point. This is a good point to hone in on, okay? But she needs to keep on being on this point, though, okay? Yeah. I think you need to keep on this point. You need to keep on this point, okay? Yeah. Because this sounds like a point I would bring up, but yeah, is this a category debate? Yes.
But I don't think trans people are bad. I just think it's
but yeah, okay, but you have to keep in mind that transgender issues as a debate topic is almost always a category debate. It's almost always a category debate. Like straight up, it is almost always a category debate. Okay. Yeah, almost always.
Sure. So okay. Do you think like it's a requirement for a woman to be female?
Yeah.
A woman to be female.
Yeah. Do you think it's a requirement for someone's gender identity?
Okay,
to be of a woman.
Sex,
whatever.
Yes.
I give up.
For the purpose of sex.
What do you
I
mean?
think like let me clarify. So I think for the purposes of like sex determination, biologically speaking, from like a position of truth, yes. But I think if a person like you, for example, wants to live as a woman, I would be okay with that. Does that make sense? Even though it's not the same, I think you still deserve the dignity and respect and the freedom to live how you want. Of course, like,
Okay.
we would have to reconcile that with society's needs as well, but
Basic take.
I would be okay with it. Even if it's different. I don't really think it's like I would still call you, I would still if we were, we were friends in real life and I knew you and and I knew that you were like, I knew that you were trans, I would have no problem calling you she.
Sure, it's a courtesy. It's not something that I should expect, though. It is just because you're nice.
I think it's... Yeah, I think so.
Do you see the problem with that?
Explain.
So, okay. If you do not view, like, you're basically saying that, like, trans women aren't women.
So, like, for instance, right?
Well, I mean, the argument that you can derive from that is you can misgender your haters. you have listen, okay? You have haters who are trans, okay? Go and misgender all of them, okay? Giga Chad, okay? Giga Chad, misgender all of them, okay? Fucking based, okay? I fully approve. No, stop. Nyara used the term female, so Leaflit explaining sex is redundant at best.
Like, if I had a friend and his name was Chris, and he told me, could you call me Joe instead? It'd be kind of like that. Does that make sense?
Joe Mama.
Sure. And
because again, like, we're speaking as to the biological reality that we were talking about earlier, right? Which is why I said that there was a difference.
What is the biological reality?
That a woman is an adult human female.
A woman is a societal, like, it's a social category of gender.
We're looping.
A woman is a social category of gender.
Yeah.
Okay, so would it change then if I said, okay, so if I were to change it and say that, if I were to just say that you are, and I don't mean this offense, this is just for the argument. I wouldn't call you this, like, outside of this argument. But if I were to say that you were an adult human male, how would that be accurate?
That is not accurate.
Okay. See, this is where I'm confused.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main confusion comes from, like, the insisting that, like, biological sex.
This is too friendly for my taste for such a serious matter. Right, but you have to keep in mind that when people in this space, like, again, on their streams, right? On their stream, and by the way, you can't listen, okay? Okay, if these people were in our space, okay? Because these people are not in our space, all right? You have to keep in mind that these two people are not of the debate space, all right? Okay, with that, keeping that in mind, okay? This is probably, like, the most debating anyone is ever going to do in their own space, okay? In the anti-woke whatever space. People do not know how to debate. I think that should be pretty obvious, okay? I'm not expecting all that much, to be honest. Yeah. Who are these people anyway? Why do we care? Oh, Leaflit is an old op of mine. She's she and I have beefed in the past because she's an Asmongold orbiter. And she is, like, very far right. This person, Nyara, is someone who beefs with Asmongold pretty often, okay? Pretty damn often online. Okay? And this person follows me. So, in a sense, I am connected to both of them, in a sense, okay? Very, very loosely, not even close to a real connection. They're kind of both, whatever, you know? They suck at debating. They suck at elaborating their points, okay? But that is why I am critiquing them, okay? This is why I'm critiquing their debate skills, okay? That's why I'm here, all right? Even still, I imagine you want to stand on business a bit more. I agree, okay? But you realize that probably Nyara is probably thinking to herself, well, I don't want to start screaming at Leaflit because it's going to make trans people look bad, right? I would imagine that's what Nyara is thinking right now, is that I can't lose my shit right now at this Asmongold person, right? Because that's going to make me look bad and that's going to make everybody else look bad, right? For Leaflit, you have to keep in mind these Asmongolders are so vicious in their own streams, but the moment they confront someone, they are the biggest softies ever, okay? I would even describe them as a little bit cowardly, okay? Or even very cowardly, all right? Because the moment that this is over, after this amicable debate is over, I bet that Leaflit is going to go right to smack talking, okay? Listen, okay? Listen. That's just how things work, okay? The sex change post-transition due to hormone intake. This common's been room temperature the whole time, and both are trying to keep it low. Yes, you can tell both of them are trying to look good. Look good, right?
And your gender identity is like it's like the same thing, right? That like
Emphasis on
you're
looking
defining
good,
gender
okay.
using sex.
Yeah,
Right?
because they use kind of the same words, right? That's why I'm trying to find like a differentiation here. Like, could we call it something else? Like for me, I think for me, my terminology would be a trans woman, right? Like I would say like you, Nyara, are a trans woman.
Sure, you could also call me a woman.
Like
you could just call me a woman.
I think the thing is like that wouldn't be according to like again according to my definition that wouldn't be technically accurate, but it wouldn't be like.
I mean, it's just true though.
Do you see what I mean? Though there's an issue.
How can they look at their video? Obviously to their community, right? Because remember, they're not a part of our community. Our community is smart, okay? Our community is well-versed in debates. Our community is epic and based, and we have like gone through 50 trillion different definitions, 50 trillion different discourses. We know all the traps. We know all the like things that people go through on how to debate, right? We know all of these things, but it would be unfair to put that same expectation on people who are just essentially like first grade debaters, right? Like, yeah, it's kind of something like that, right? Yeah.
There's a language issue where we because we're talking about like two different things, right? That use similar terminology, right? There's like
Yeah,
gender,
all people
right? Which
talk
you agree is like
about
kind of
sure.
your perception, and then there's the actual biology, right? Because you can, for instance, like you can do things to your body to like change them, but it's away from the state that it was like originally, right? It's like kind of like cosmetic in a way, isn't it?
Do you believe in the soul?
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Do you think that like your soul has a gender?
What?
Like a sex or whatnot?
Oh no, this argument. Oh Lord.
That's pretty deep. I don't know. Maybe.
What?
So the thing is like gender identity, you can like kind of view it as like your soul's
So confused.
gender, and you basically got like put into a body, like some flesh suit, which also has, you know, like a
Sounds
sex.
terrible. Sounds terrible for that to be mismatched.
Exactly, and that's kind of like how
Yeah, I
I
agree.
feel. And
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
exactly.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. I wish that happened.
And you know, there's just like this mismatch, and like gender is just like your gender identity is like in your brain. Your sense of self is in your brain, and I don't know what explanation you wanna like use for it. If you wanna think that like being trans is like an intersex condition of like the brain, that like during your development phase of the brain, the different.
I'm just curious. Like, is there actual proof that's an intersex condition of the brain? I don't know. I've never heard that.
There are like there is some reason.
VTubers are just basically trans in my view. They just want to transition into an anime girl. You know what? Everybody is transgender, okay? Fuck it. Everybody is transgender. Do you know why? Because even cis men want to be validated, okay, as a man, okay? And cis women also want to be validated as a woman, all right? Everyone is transgender at this point.
But it's like really difficult because like the thing is like
it also revelation.
It is really difficult because it's still making being trans out to be something binary. To be like, oh, you're like
fuck it.
Your brain
you're
is,
trans too,
is female and you're stuck in a male body, which can make it like really difficult. But like I'm just like trying to like maybe help you understand it a little bit better by just like
thank you
using simple like terminology.
You say that?
Even if it's like the concept of gender is like it's difficult, right? Because it's like a spectrum and gender identity, like you can be non-binary, agender, and whatnot. And I just like think that like this would be too confusing.
The VTubers avatars aren't helping whatsoever. You don't say. But regardless, again, it's an Asmongold. Listen, I would never expect an Asmongold orbiter to be debating, okay? I'm just gonna be totally real with you, okay? Like, I wouldn't expect an Asmongold orbiter and a fucking Hassan, like, fan to be debating like this. I just don't. Like, this isn't something that happens every day. Especially for people of their size. Like, this is like, what? Nyara is like 26,000 subscribers. Leaflit is over 100,000 subscribers, right? You're watching this, is such cancer? It is cancer, okay? Because there's just so many things No, the most painful part isn't even the points that I disagree with. The most painful part, in my opinion, is like, is that they could have debated better. There could have been better points that they could have went to. I think the fact that sometimes they're making bad points that could easily be capitalized on by the other side, but then the other side doesn't even take advantage of the fact that the other side has made a bad point, so it's a misadvantage to like capitalize on a point that you could win on. I just feel like, I don't know, it is painful, like for people who are familiar with watching debates, right?
Actually, I don't want to go into that. I might go into a completely different rabbit hole. So I guess what I'd like to say is I think that I think the confusion here is between gender.
Leaflit doesn't know the topic. You know what? Everybody has to take their first step, okay? You know what's so funny is that Leaflit is like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to Nyara. I'm gonna reach out to Nyara to debate this topic, and then Leaflit is like, yeah. So actually, I don't know why I wanted this discussion. I don't even have like strong views. It's like, why did you reach out for a for a discussion debate thing then? Why'd you do it in the first place? Like,
and sex.
Nice collaboration.
So, again, I just want to reiterate, you think that they're different, right?
Based
They're
on
different.
brain.
Yeah, they're interlinked. Yeah, they're interlinked, but they're not the same thing.
Interlinked.
So they're interlinked, but they're not the same thing.
Blade Runner reference.
And so you think that there's. I'm trying to find where the disconnect here is, because I can see this.
So you use a gendered term, woman, and you.
Oh my god! It's like. You know what this looks like? It looks like a bunch of kids wearing like big fat football helmets while playing soccer. So all that's happening is that you have all of these kids that are like bonking their heads into each other. Like that's what one of these babies' first debates look like. It's like a bunch of kids who are just like bonk, 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 bonk while trying to dribble the ball around.
Kind of using someone's sex.
That's what it looks like. Okay.
Causing issues.
So it's an issue of definition, because I think most people would consider a woman to be, a human female in reference to the state at which they are born. Basically, so humans come in like basically two configurations unless there's an anomaly, correct?
I mean, so the thing is like, you're basically using outdated terms, and you're like kind of like insistent on using these terms, and I think it's just like, it makes it like really difficult to talk, because we're basically like running in circles, just going over like the same stuff, because of like the fundamental like misunderstanding of like gender not being the same thing as like someone's sex.
So you said that a woman is an adult human female, right?
No.
What is that then?
So a woman is like a social category of gender.
Right. That's what you said. Sorry about that.
Which is typically attributed to those of the female sex. Yeah.
So the female sex. So it's attributed to those of the female sex. What is that?
So do you know like?
I feel like I argue intertrans ones. Nyara is like bringing up like xeno pronouns, like neo pronouns, and trans people in sports as a first topic into someone who is. You can argue these topics, okay? It's fine. You can argue these topics, but these are not easy topics to argue, okay? Like you can be a really seasoned debater and they would still be hard topics, okay?
Different cultures, different time periods have like a different idea of what a woman is, like what a woman has to be like.
Well, actually, if you were to look at that, most societies actually just had male and female. There were a couple of outliers, right? But then, for instance, if I were to say,
I mean, like something like, how do I say this?
Native Americans.
Like if you're like I just like mean in general. Like for example, like blue used to be like the girl's color, right? And pink used to be like the boy's color, and that changed. Different cultures. So okay, the thing is like, because it's like a societal thing, it is kind of like it's very dependent on like the culture that you grow up in, like what your concept of like what women have to fulfill, like what is a woman. Like early on as a kid, you kind of learn that like girls wear dresses. And boys go outdoors and they're running around and whatnot. Like you kind of learn how to like differentiate, right? Like girls have long hair, boys have short hair. This is obviously like, oversimplifying.
What is the difference between those two though? What is the difference between a boy and a girl?
I mean, at what?
Because you said that girls do one thing, boys do one thing. What's the difference between them? Why? What is the difference between them?
I mean, that is just like patriarchal stuff. That is like people being forced into boxes and like reduced to labels in order to like control their identities.
Leaflit has already set on her positions. What positions? Like my question is like, what positions does she even have? Because throughout the course of this entire debate, like I'm like confused about like what Leaflit is even arguing for. I'm just so confused. Like, yeah, like I know that you are. I know that you will respect people's pronouns. Okay, you already said that, right? Like you're not gonna like maliciously misgender people. You already said that. You advocate for being nice. You already said that. Okay, what are your actual beliefs though? I don't know. Like it just doesn't feel like they're going anywhere. Whatever. It's
Like
fine.
the identity, like
I'm not a hater.
in general, the difference between a boy and a girl is their gender identity.
Their gender identity, it's not their genitalia.
No, like the gender.
Like notice this is what happens. By the way, this is what happens when an Asmongold watcher goes out of their comfort zone for the first time, and they'll never ever engage outside of their comfort zone ever again. Okay, this is what happens. This is what happens when it's like, hey, maybe I should try something out of my box for a moment, okay? Maybe I should be trying to come, and then you're like, oh god, this thing was an entire like fucking waste of time, and then you're just back in the box of isolating yourself and being in your fortress arc.
Identity, a sense of self, that is different, right?
So a sense of self. So if you had so a girl's sense of self would be what? That would make her a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would her sense of self be? The girl. So you know, he said that boys and girls,
What the fuck?
you know, they do different things when they're kids, right? Am I misunderstanding you?
I mean, no, I'm just like using it as an example.
Then they realize why Asmongold doesn't debate. I mean, that's fine. Okay? It's okay if Asmongold doesn't debate, because Asmongold, why is this debate like 9 hours? It's not 9 hours. Like, holy fuck. Wait, actually, how long do they fucking debate? Hello? Shit, we're definitely not gonna watch this whole thing. Yeah, fuck that.
How like certain labels are being used in order to like dictate what other what children have to like be like. It's basically like social conditioning, right? That is like kind of like the point that like you are being taught like if you're a boy you have to behave a certain way.
Dude, Steven is still watching my stream. It's fucking Jover, dude. I'm sorry I'm subjecting you to this, okay?
And if you're a girl, you have to behave a certain way.
So what is different about girls that makes people say they have to behave in a certain way different from boys?
It's over.
People use the phenotype that they were observed of having in order to basically put a label on them and then define who they are.
Got it. So it's the phenotype when they're born.
Yeah, but it's like it's just used. It is used to like label other people for them, right? Like a baby is not able to communicate. Like,
by the way, okay. Just because other people can get away with not debating doesn't mean that you shouldn't debate, okay? Usually the people who can get away with not debating are people who are much larger, all right? Much larger, like massive streamers, okay? These people don't need to debate because they can be successful and hit the algorithm without debating, okay? But if you have smaller people, okay, who are collaborating with each other like this, okay, and they're debating, yeah, typically it's good for both people because it's a collaboration, right? Like they're able to get together and talk about their ideas, and they're able to hash things out, and everyone's gonna watch it, right? So yeah, of course, like when people are gonna make videos about it and what stuff, it doesn't matter how retarded it sounds, it doesn't matter how retarded it is, right? Even if like they are both going into it half-assed and not passionate about things, like of course it's still gonna be mutually beneficial, right? Because again, when was the last time someone from the Asmongold audience is going to be debating someone who is like a Twitter transgender person, right? Like, of course, it's good for both of their careers, right? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna skip forward a little bit. I'm gonna see what they're talking about.
Likely that there would be a cis woman in the women's locker room. Do you think that would be a high possibility?
Moving forward. Okay, don't care about this.
If I can like show this.
Oh my god, they're looking at papers now. Oh no. Okay, next.
To 46 trans women in the United States Air Force.
Yeah, I mean, we can totally say that this is a bonk study.
How are they still going?
I mean, I guess let's assume for the question, let's assume that it's
true. Stop
so there is a 9%.
Already,
if there is a 9%, if that is true, if we assume that that's true, right? And of course, if that's not true, then all of this gets thrown away. But if we assume that that's true, and we allowed trans girls that haven't been touched by hormones, we allow them to participate in the sports, would you agree with banning everyone else?
So the problem that
why are they having a trans sports debate when we haven't even got past step 1? Whatever, man. Okay, all right, next. I could totally see you switching to being a VTuber. No, I'm not going to, because I'm pretty. And I can make a lot of facial expressions that are much more expressive than just simply than just simply like a fucking VTuber model. And not only that, VTubers are overrated, okay? It's obviously overrated. And I wouldn't even be nearly as successful if I was a VTuber in this space, okay? And you know that for a fact. All right. And plus, I can dress up nice, take care of myself as an excuse, and I could wear contact lenses. Okay. That looks cool. All right. There's multiple reasons. Okay. What is this? I honestly hope there would have been a conversation. I'm getting mixed responses from the shit show that went down, but it personally helped me understand where Leaflit stands. It's sad that there is a general inability to emphasize with trans people while protecting abusers. Like, you know, like, again, there's bro, this is such a crazy thing to say. Bro, you can't say like notice how, like, to us, right? To us, it is the most baby debate ever, all right? Baby's first debate. It's like baby's first debate. Baby's first debate. But then after the debate is over, and you know what? Fuck Nyara, frankly, okay, for not going hard enough, all right, if this is the attitude that you're gonna go in, okay? Like, to be frank, okay, if you're gonna be saying something as crazy as this on Twitter, I better see some shouting at the end of the debate, okay? You can't have different fucking dude, stop, you can't do it. Why are people so non-confrontational? Like, people are just so ridiculously non-confrontational. It's so cringe. Yeah, like if you're gonna be saying something as crazy as this, I expect you to be way more crazy in this debate. Okay, we'll see. Could be different.
This is the dankest dungeon.
Yo, Misaki, thanks so much for the 5 gifted subs on Kick. Thank you so much, buddy. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, wait.
I have with like this study is that it went for what?
The ending's pretty insane.
No, it's go back and forth.
The thing is, like,
data. I'm gonna come up with data.
Sure, it's very important though. You're using Leah as an example, right? Like, okay, I can tell you.
Because I gave. Okay, the only reason I brought up Leah.
Not Leah
that's actually
Thomas.
incorrect. The only reason I brought up Leah was because you said that it doesn't happen, and you said
Oh,
the
coveted 5th
Yeah,
place
and I'm
position.
explaining to you
Oh,
how your numbers
God.
are like wrong. You're drawing the wrong conclusions using these numbers. Right, you're using the 60-50 first as an example, but like the problem is obviously she was on ATT at the time, but she used to be number 2 during her sophomore year. She was number 2 in the Ivy League's men.
Oh my God, I can't, dude. I am unable to handle transports debates. Okay, transports debates are the cancer of this earth. I hope transports never gets debated ever again in all reality. I have to listen. Yes, they are going hard at each other now, it seems, but like I just don't want to cover the transports shit. Okay, please, just get me out. Okay.
I'll tell you anecdotally, because I've played a lot of esports, is that when you play aggressive,
what
you put the other players on the defensive, and when you're on
the
yeah, but like you don't. I don't think you need testosterone in order to play aggressive.
Oh no, I didn't say that. I just said that men are probably more aggressive in general, which
Steven,
means that they'll probably tend to make more aggressive plays in general. So it would give men an advantage in esports.
I feel like that's a very weird argument.
I think the difference is so minimal, it probably doesn't matter. Like, I'm not really advocating for, like, women's esports or anything like that. I think we should just have everybody playing the same esports. I think that the differences are minimal enough. Like, we're not talking
trans woman esports or some shit. Is that what we're talking about?
Did you want to talk about like a different topic? I don't know if you wanted to talk about like the Slop thing.
Sure, we can talk about the Slop thing.
Yeah.
So,
oh my God,
I guess we could start at
Can I rush it about?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just make sure you go to a gender-neutral bathroom, Nyara, says Leaflit. I'm kidding, joking. That's my fanfic. Okay.
People to match like the status quo with the norm.
Yeah, to perhaps make things easier for them. And then if they're not, then they have the right to do that if they want.
So you should always.
If there's a dude, so say there's a mom and they have a kid, and like my kid would have an easier life, and let's say that her rationale behind it is that studies show that like if they get married and have kids, like that's the path to happiness. So I want my kid to like have that path to happiness. So I'm gonna try to like see if like we could find out if being gay is a phase, or they're not actually gay. Maybe they're bi and they can maybe they're bi and they can just not have a boyfriend or whatever, right? So they send them to a thing to try to like figure that out, and then the kid's like, "Too bad, mom. I'm 18 now and I'm still gay. I'm gonna go fuck a dude." And I think fine, it's up to them.
Wait, what? Wait, is she talking about conversion camps? Wait, is she talking about conversion therapy?
Why would they?
Hold up, bro. Hold up, bro.
Because you would have to steal. So if
see, that to me is more mask off. If she's talking about conversion therapy, that is more mask off to me. Okay, that's more mask off to me. That is more like the Leaflit that I know. Okay, that's more like the Leaflit I know. That's more like the Leaflit I know.
Jews lived in Germany. You would have to steal their property rights and steal their property in order to kick them out.
So do you think that like a sense of like identity is less valuable as like a like property.
Hello?
Like you can take
sense of,
people's
like-
identity away, but you can't take their property away.
What do you mean? What do you mean take their identity away?
I mean, if you're saying something like, oh, trans people shouldn't be allowed to transition because it's too disruptive, so they need to like hide
didn't
that
say
they're
that.
trans. I'm hypothetically.
Hypothetically what? Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, you're saying that like trans people are like too disruptive for society, so they need to like they shouldn't
say that.
they shouldn't transition in order to
didn't say that,
fit
though.
in with society.
No, I didn't say that.
I mean,
That's not
you're talking about like trying to convert people to match like the status quo, the norm.
Yeah, to perhaps make things easier for them, and then if they're not, then they have the right to do that if they want.
So you should always.
If there's a dude, so say there's a mom and they have a kid, and like my kid would have an easier life, and let's say that her rationale behind it is that studies show that like if they get married and have kids, like that's the path to happiness. So I want my kid to like have that path to happiness. So I'm gonna try to like see if like we could find out if being gay is a phase or they're not actually gay. Maybe they're bi and they can maybe they're bi and they can just not have a boyfriend or whatever, right? So they send them to a thing to try to like figure that out, and then the kid's like, "Too bad, mom. I'm 18 now."
What is the thing? What is the thing? What thing are you talking about? Can you please elaborate on what the thing is?
Still gay. I'm gonna go fuck a dude, and I think fine. It's up to them.
What? Wait. Gay? What are they being sent to for being gay? What? Average Asmongold fan, by the way. This is the average Asmongolder, alright? Very Asmongold vibes, okay? Very Asmongold vibes. Oh my god. Yikes.
Why would I get involved in that?
So you think?
They're an adult.
So you think conversion camps are like a good idea
not my
then for kids?
No, I don't think that they're.
They should go
I don't
to
think they're very
therapy
effective.
to figure out who they are because they are gay.
Yeah, sure.
Wait, so if they are effective, you would send them there? Wait, hold on. Wait, I'm so confused. Wait, so if they are effective, you would send them there? Wait, hold on. Hold on. Hold the phone, okay? Just please hold the phone. So wait, so if they are effective, you would send them there, right? Is that...
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, you should know who you are, right? I mean, it's a good thing to go to. If you have these feelings, you're kind of confused about it. I think it's a great thing to go to therapy and like maybe find out how you do feel. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Oh,
I mean, sure. Would you
Therapy is
send like straight
fine.
people to therapy for the same reasons?
Well, no, because that's kind of again.
How did we get here? What the fuck? Hello?
That's like within the societal norm, and there's no innate disadvantage to that, right?
So like only those who are like out of the norm, they need to like figure out if they're actually.
No, it's more that like, so I don't really believe in like the conversion camps in the first place because I don't think they're very effective.
Okay.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
But if they were effective, though. Wait, hold on. But if they were effective... Wait, hold on. I don't like the way that she's... I don't like the way that she's putting that. I don't like the way that she's putting that. I don't like the way that she's putting that, bro. It gives me the ick.
it can come from a place not of malice. That's my point. Is that you could come from a place.
How
of,
is
like,
that not malicious though?
It's not, because you want what's best for the person.
Wait, but if they...
And what you think
Why
is
is
best for the person is that.
Why is the best for a person, for a gay person to pretend to be
Stop
straight?
cooking
again,
immediately.
if they're
Stop
100%
cooking
gay,
immediately, please. Just
and,
please stop cooking.
They found out they're 100% gay, and they
I think right-wingers say therapy instead of conversion camps for curing gender dysphoria. Well, I mean, they're also going to use the word therapy because it sounds better than conversion, right? Conversion sounds forceful, but therapy sounds more passive, right? Like therapy sounds like you're hearing people out, right? So to me, like it still is just conversion camps, but you're just using the propaganda language, right? Does that make sense?
it's best for them to just be gay.
You're using the
But what I'm saying
propaganda
is,
term.
there might be a
yeah.
case in which a person's bi, and maybe they're not really, they don't like dudes that much, and then maybe you could convince them to, maybe the mom could convince them to have a wife instead of.
It's like I wouldn't say it's slavery. I would just say it's involuntary servitude.
The boyfriend,
right?
because it would be easier on them in society,
say
in
it's
terms of, you can
slavery.
have children like much easier. You wouldn't have issues with like, adoption or like.
Would it be easier for the mom or would it be easier for the
You
son?
wouldn't have to do all of that. I mean, maybe both. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe both.
Okay,
I mean,
if you're
Like do you notice how much more nicer Leaflit was at the beginning and how so much more like careful Leaflit was at the beginning? But I think as the debate wears on, because it's been hours at this point, okay? Because just so you know, I skipped forward a lot, okay? Technically it's been hours at this point. So just notice how the mask begins to slip a lot more, right? The mask begins to slip a lot more as the debate goes on because it's much more harder to maintain a mask when your face is sweaty, right? Your face is sweaty because you spend a long time debating, so your mask is beginning to slip, right? So this is more of the leaflet I know, okay? Nyara should come back with gay men have fewer divorces. We send men to turn gay because it's better for the life. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like, again, this is like, okay, yeah, guys, just keep in mind that because at first, yeah, no, I know Leaflit, okay? I know Leaflit. It's not, dude, I've covered hours of Leaflit at this point, okay? I know who Leaflit is, okay? Leaflit is a neo-Nazi adjacent far-right lolly VTuber, okay, who worships Asmongold. That is who Leaflit is, and this is the Leaflit I know, okay?
You're gay. If you're a gay man and your mom forces you to marry a woman so you can have like
forces
children.
Is different. Forces is different from suggesting or.
Do you think
Helping them
pestering people isn't like pushing them into like a direction? If you're like constantly being like, why aren't you married to a woman?
Is this like Ethan versus Hassan but for trans VTubers? I don't think Leaflit is trans. I think Leaflit's like voice is just like that. No?
Why you should marry a woman? You would be so much happier if you would just like have a wife and give me grandchildren.
Is that?
How is that not abuse? How is that not abusive? That's literally abuse.
It's not.
It is emotionally manipulative.
I can listen to you. No, you just be like, I don't listen to you. Listen, Mom. I hate to tell you, but I'm gay as fuck. Sorry, I like dick. So and then it's just like,
why are you protecting the abusive mom then?
I don't think she's abusive. I think she's just maybe she's you could say at the most she's misguided. I don't think it's abusive, really.
Okay, so if I tell you every single day that the way that you are is wrong and you should change.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is a very dumb opinion, right? Like this is obviously a stupid opinion. The purpose and intent, like the road to hell is paved with the good intentions, right? Like, I mean, there's a reason why that's a phrase, right? There's a reason why everyone says, oh, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Because you could be good intentions the entire way through, but you can end up as a supervillain, right? Oh, I am a utilitarian. I believe in increasing the average amount of happiness in this world. So I'm just going to go and genocide all the homeless people. Because if you genocide all the homeless people, then we are increasing the average happiness in this world. Because homeless people are miserable fucks. Like, again, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right?
You fit my worldview. How is that different?
At that point? Well, it's different because, like, if you say, like, okay, I want what's best for my child, I'm gonna take them to this thing and see, like, if make sure I'm gonna take them to therapy and make sure they work it through and they discover that they're really gay, and then you know what?
So you're advocating for conversion therapy?
I don't really like it, but whatever. No, wait. I don't think it's effective. Is my point? And I said therapy, not like conversion.
The Mod and Bailey. This is Mod and Bailey. Okay, so the Bailey is her pushing for conversion therapy. Okay, but the Mott is, oh, I don't think conversion therapy is effective. Right? Does that make sense? This is bad faith, right? Obviously, they've both been bad faith the entire way through, technically, but they both don't notice that they're doing that, right? Like, again, people who are amateur debaters don't really notice these kinds of things when they are doing these, like, speaking patterns. But the Mott that Leaflit is exhibiting is, like, when she's being pushed back on it, right? Is that like for example, her Bailey is, oh, I don't think it's wrong for parents to be sending their kids to therapy camps, right? AKA conversion therapy. However, the Mott, when Nyara is pushing back on Leaflit here, is, okay, well, aren't you advocating for just conversion therapy then? Then Leaflit says, oh, no, well, I don't think it's effective though, right? Mott Bailey, right?
Therapy. Okay. I feel like everyone should have therapy. Should trans people have therapy to make sure that they're trans?
I mean, sure, obviously, huh? Like that's how it works in order to get, to get care in most places. Okay. I am just like really confused. No, I'm just like a little bit confused when it comes to like the part of how it's not abusive to tell your child that like they should like be different. They need to be like they need to be different. They need to be normal.
So there's abusive ways to go about it, I think. So I think there are ways in which it could be abusive. As in, if you're saying, like, for instance, like if I had a gay kid and I'm like, my kid ain't gonna be gay. Shut up, kid. You're not gay. And the kid's like, but I am gay, Dad. Shut up. Like,
dude, Nyara doesn't know how to argue this. Okay. And again, it's they both don't know how to argue for their positions. Okay, because again, they're both amateurs. But Nyara needs to say, okay, is there anything inherently bad with being gay? Is there anything inherently bad with being trans? Right? Because you're saying that, oh, you don't mind if if a parent sends off their kid to a conversion camp or something like that, right? Okay, that implies that okay, the mom is doing it in her best interest because she thinks that there is something bad with that, right? Do you think that there is anything bad with that? Because otherwise, like, isn't she fixing a non-existent problem? If she is trying to fix a non-existent problem and subjecting her kid to all of this shit, isn't that kind of abusive, right? Like, again, there are good ways to go about this, and there are good ways to arguing against conversion camps and conversion therapy, right? But I just don't know if, like, again, does amateur debater versus amateur debater, right?
That would be abusive.
So if
Okay, never mind. I'm no longer willing to bet $100 on them watching any of Steven's trans debates, okay? I'm no longer willing to bet that much, all right? Because otherwise, I don't think they'll be falling into these obvious traps.
if I phrase it as
I'm
like,
not talking about that case.
if I would phrase it as like, oh, I just really do not, I don't want my child to go through the struggles of being gay, so I really wish they would like find reason and become normal because it's so difficult. Would that be like abuse to you, or would that be loving?
No, because they might be bi, right? I mean, how do you know, right? Maybe they're bi, and then maybe like
Just hypothetically, just assume the kid is like 100% gay.
Yeah, see, but the thing is the parent wouldn't know that, right? So the parent might be thinking that there might be a chance that they're not, and then that's what I mean.
Why does it matter?
Right?
Why does it matter if the child is gay or bi? Like, would it be abusive for me to like phrase it as like I'm coming from a point of love? I just really care about my child. I want my child to not go through the struggles of.
No. I think Nyara needs to ask Leaflit. Well, I mean, I get where Leaflit. Sorry, I get where Nyara is coming from, but Nyara needs to ask Leaflit. Okay, do you think that abuse can come from love? Do you think that like a parent could be like beating the fuck out of their kids and say it's for love, and that wouldn't be abuse, just simply because the intentions are for love? Like, do you think that a way that a parent could be expressing love is by beating the fuck out of their kids? Like, do you think that's love?
Having to deal with homophobia.
Yes.
Do you think it's okay?
Yeah, I think that's.
Do you think it's not?
That is
abuse?
wild. That is absolutely wild to me. That you do not think that's like abusive.
Why is it wild?
Because you're basically like
abusive,
you're basically sugarcoating abuse. You're basically like justifying it.
Can you
Okay,
explain how it's abuse?
because the child is not straight and needs to like repress.
Yes, but then you don't know
etc.
that, right? And then say the parent does know that. Say the parent doesn't know that, and the parent's like, oh, maybe it's a phase, maybe.
No, dude, Nyara is not making a good argument, right? Like, oh my god, dude, I can't, dude. Dude, can't just, God. Can we not, like, can we just like actually like learn how to debate or how to not fall into obvious debate traps? Like, again, all right. I mean, you can watch all the debates you want, but if you don't practice how to debate, you're not going to get anywhere. Okay. Watching debates does not mean that you're going to become good at debating. Okay, you need to do it.
They don't know.
But
Maybe
yeah.
maybe they're bi, maybe there's something else, and then maybe they have an easier life, maybe like with a woman or something. And then so they try to take them to therapy to make sure that's the case. And then if the kid says that they're gay, like, sorry, mom, I just love dick and balls. And then the mom goes, no. So there's two routes it can go at that point. One route, it could go, no, you're absolutely, no son of mine is going to be gay. I would think that is abusive. But if the mom was like, well, I tried, then I don't really think that's abusive. See the difference? It's an issue of intent.
No, stop. No. Oh my god. Oh my god. Intent. Intent really does not matter. Oh my god. Oh my god. Intent really does not matter. Oh my god. Leaflit is so dense, dude. Leaflit is actually so dense. Leaflit, she thinks she's like, I think Leaflit thinks that she's cooking right now. Like, I unironically think that Leaflit thinks she is cooking. She actually thinks she's cooking. Oh my god.
No, the intent is always like the same.
Oh
it is
my
like the
No.
you're just like phrasing one through like flowery vision,
really.
and the other one is just
One-
like being
Listen,
clear cut.
One is in the best interest of the kid.
Why is it
because
in the
the
best?
parent-
Is it in the
I
best
explained it.
interest of the kid, or is it in the best interest of the mom who really wants their kid to be
It could be both.
straighter?
It could be both. What I mean is I don't really think that it necessarily comes from a place of malice to be like, well, let's make sure that that's actually what you want. Let's make sure. Let's make sure, and maybe like we'll go to this place and they'll talk to you about not being gay, and we'll see how.
Wait, but you don't have to come from a place of malice to inflict harm, right? Right? Dude, Nyara really needs to ask this. Nyara, oh my god, Nyara, please clutch up, okay? You need to clutch up, okay? You need to clutch up. Listen, you've been slipping this entire debate, but you guys both been doing really horribly, like, throughout this entire debate, but you need to clutch here, okay? You need to get your game face on, all right? You need to make the right arguments, okay?
that works.
Okay.
And then,
That is conversion therapy.
Well, let's say it's therapy, just regular therapy.
Yeah, but Leaflit doesn't think it's bad, right? You have to explain why it's bad. You have to explain why that shit is bad. Okay, you need to do that. You need to explain why it's bad.
Therapy.
No,
Let's take regular therapy.
that is conversion therapy, though.
Okay, let me back up.
I think Leaflit is on the back foot here. She keeps falling back on, I just have good intentions, so it's good. Yeah, but like, but Nyara has to explain why. Nyara has to explain why like, having good intentions doesn't necessitate that the overall thing is good, right? Yeah.
It's therapy. They say they go to therapy, and the therapy's like, let's find out who you are, and let's make sure that that's... How's it? Okay, how would you define conversion therapy?
It is basically going, going to a place where they're going to like assume that you can be changed, that you're going through a phase, you're confused, so you just need to like find reason. I don't know, maybe you watched two gay men kissing, and that confused you, and now you have to go to therapy because it like invoked a feeling in you. Do you think that like a straight person watching gay porn makes them gay?
I don't think so. But
if I would take like a straight man and I would sit him in a room and just like have him like constantly be around like watching movies and whatnot where gay dudes are kissing, do you think at some point this person is just being attracted to men?
No, I don't think it matters. What I think this is kind of outside of the point. The point is that
because you're assuming the other way is correct. You think that like you can make a gay kid straight.
No, what if the kid? So there's two cases here. There's three cases really. The one is that the kid is confused, which is like it's a possibility. People are confused all the time. I don't know. People like what they like, and people change what they like sometimes. They get kind of confused. But there are some people that are actually like straight up gay. So these are the cases. One, the kid is straight up gay. Two, the kid is a little bit confused. Three, the kid's like bi, and they don't really care. So there's like the three scenarios, right?
Like why as a kid I was confused because I always knew that like I was like in the wrong body, right? I shouldn't have been born male. I shouldn't have been raised as a boy. And I initially thought every boy wanted to be a girl, and I didn't have like any education on this, and I was really confused because like I didn't understand the point where, well, okay, so not every boy wants to be a girl, and there was like there were a lot of like instances that like really like woke me up to this phase. And do you think that like I should have like just gone to therapy and then have like someone tell me that like no, I'm a boy because I was born a boy, and I should just like do more boy stuff in order to like realize that I'm a boy? Do you think that would have
explore? I think you should explore the possibility. I think you should explore the possibility of like maybe you'll be okay with it.
I tried to repress for I tried to repress for about like 15 years, and I wanted to kill myself when I was 14.
What? So what? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh. Bro. Sorry, not funny. I feel like we're at the point now. I feel like we're at the point now where it's like I feel like we're at the point now where it's like, oh god, we're because you're so bad at debating, okay? Because you're so bad at debating, you have to wheel out the personal ults. Yeah, she ulted too early. Yes, she ulted too early. Yes. I feel like Leaflit is trying to interchange conversion therapy and regular therapy to confuse Nyara. Yes, but I don't think Leaflit is trying to do that though. Like Leaflit is, you know how people manipulate and they don't realize that they're actually manipulating or being bad faith in debate. I think it's one of these things, right, where someone feels as though, okay, well, I think I'm cooking right now, but they're actually being bad faith, right?
Just a drink.
Yeah.
A martini, shaken, not stirred.
I am Steve.
You are Steve. We are all Steve, Chicken Jockey. Thank you so much for a 10 Australian. Okay, right. So it's like, oh, I'm so bad at debating. I'm gonna start wheeling out the personal shit.
Yeah, sure. Then maybe you're super trans, and I mean, it is what it is, right? But that doesn't mean that if your parents took you to a place to like make sure that was the case, that it comes from a place of hatred. That's my point. They might be worried about you. They're thinking that it's a. I mean, this way. Do you think it's fun to be trans? Do you think it's fun to be trans, Nyara?
No, society makes it incredibly difficult to be trans.
If you could, would you be born just a cis girl and not have to worry about being trans?
Every single day of my life since I was like 7 years old.
And is it terrible? Like, do you feel awful? Like,
Do you
does it
think-
feel bad all the time? Like, you're constantly reminded of it?
Should
Yes or no?
should
Leaflit is psychotic, bro. Leaflit is like, yes, tell me how bad you feel. Fuck. What the fuck? Bro, this is some villain energy, dude. Foodshops, does this debate between the two consider trans on trans crime? They're not trans. Stop, okay? Only one of them is trans. The weirdest thing about sleeping to Foodshops is that I wake up having a dream of hanging out with Foodshops and two enemy characters. Leaflit going demon mode. Leaflit is going full malicious, like, demon mode, dude.
do you think that like me going to therapy would have like fixed that instead of like me going through like gender affirming care?
No, I'm not really talking about that. So, but you would agree that it's bad, right? It sucks. It sucks being trans, right?
I mean, gender
Would you agree?
dysphoria
That's
sucks, yeah,
like
and the society
It's
makes it like
like
really
all the
hard.
time, right? Yeah, it sucks, right? So if I were your mom, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that to be your future. So I would try everything to make sure that wasn't the case before we went with anything. That's my point. Would I be a bad parent for thinking like, okay, I really like, I know that if my kid is trans, they're going to be going down like an awful road, and man, that sucks. And I really don't want that for my kids. So I'm going to make absolutely 100% sure that they're trans before we go forward with this. Would you say that they're a hateful parent for that?
Go forward with what?
Before we go forward with you with transitioning, we're gonna make 100% fucking sure, like 150, 200, 1000% sure that you're dysphoric and that it's the only thing that we can do. Would that be a place of hatred? To be like, it's awful to be trans, and I don't want my kid to go through that. So we're gonna make sure.
Can you imagine? So obviously, before transitioning, especially when it comes to like medical process, it is guided with therapy. You would go to therapy anyways in order to like obviously make sure that that's the right path.
Can you answer the question first? Though? Like, do you think that would be hateful?
Oh no. They're finally using the debate tactics, guys. Guys, they're using the debate tactics. Oh my god, can you answer? Leaflit is trans. She's like 45 years old, pretending to be a 19-year-old. True. Bro, they're using the debate tactics. Oh my god, it's so over. The fucking VTubers are using debate tactics now. Oh my god, can you answer my question first? Wait, okay, hold on. Can you answer my question first though? Wait, hold on. Can you answer my question? Wait, hold on. Can you answer my question first? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no, Steven? Yes or no? Yeah, yes or no, Nyara? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes or no, Leaflit? Yes or no?
Would that come from a place of malice?
It kind of depends like what type of like therapy you're kind of like referring to. Do you think like, oh, we're going to like be supportive and we're going to like try to figure out what the right path for it is, no matter what the right path actually like turns out to be? Or are you going to be like, no, it is like incredibly difficult for you to be trans, so I need to send you to like therapy so they talk to you why you feel this way to like maybe get you to the point where you like repress enough or whatnot?
Let's say for the sake of argument, they take you to a trans expert, a person that is very pro-trans expert. They send you to a person that is basically tries to convince of not being trans. They send you to all of them. Because they'll pull all the stops for their kid. They'll spend all the money for their kid. So they send you to literally everything in order to make sure that this is what it is. Do you think that's a hateful thing?
What do you mean by sending to everything?
Everything. Like they're going to send you to one therapist that's pro-trans. They're going to send you to one therapist that is kind of more pro you I don't know what the word for it is.
Anti-trans?
Not only anti-trans, like
moderate?
Like convincing you.
No, sorry. No, she's not trying to pretend to be a 19-year-old. Oh, actually, no, she is trying to like cosplay as a 19-year-old kind of, right? But Leaflit's avatar is obviously like fucking 7 years old, right? Like, can we just be clear on that?
He says one that's going to convince you to be trans, and one that's going to convince you out of it. Maybe like they're going to say like,
so someone wants to like,
let's
they're sending you to a therapist where they're bullying you out of your trans identity. Is that what you're saying?
No, they're just trying to like tell you that there's alternatives to it. Like for instance, I'm just living.
What is the alternative for a trans kid that has gender dysphoria except for like transitioning?
I mean, they could live with it.
Would that be like a good life?
Well, I mean, it doesn't really. Does it?
I wanted to end mine
for everybody.
Do you think that like me living a life where I just wanted to like end it like every single day is like a good life just because I don't?
Oh my god. Wheeling out the suicide card as an argument. Debate tactics, suicide. Oh my god, debate tactics, Robloxing. Oh my god.
A lot of trans people there's a lot of there's a lot of trans people that transition and they still want to end their lives.
Yeah, because of society.
So, I mean, yeah, we live in a society.
Yeah, HRT doesn't fix the
I'll tell
environmental
you.
abuse that you experience on a day-to-day basis from like your family or friends or like
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
Debate suicide bomber.
I mean, I have thoughts on what should be done about that, but I mean, let's get back on topic. So like
I'm sure
anyway.
you do.
So for
do
me,
you not
it
think
is
that
it is abusive to say that like, oh, I'm going to like send you to someone who is like who knows about trans stuff, and then I'm not going to be happy with it. So I also need to like teach you about like the anti-trans stuff, and, like all the risk, and I gotta like fearmonger about like
Hold
you
on.
know.
Do you know about sending? Do you know about getting a second opinion? Like with medical things, right? Like doctors can make mistakes, therapists can make mistakes. You get a second opinion from like another person, right? And say that second opinion, you would typically want like somebody who would try to anti the position. That way, like you could be for sure.
There's actually like a post I saw a while ago. I don't know if like anyone like, in chat
my
remembers that of like a mom who
dude.
was like, oh, I have a trans kid, and I will only let my kid transition if I tell them every single day about like all the negative like studies, the anti-trans studies, and have them like recite all of these things. Do you think that is like
sure?
you
But
know?
that's kind of that's an outlying case. I think that's kind of.
I mean, you know,
it's kind of beyond. That's kind of beyond. That's kind of like that's a level of nagging that's like kind of really annoying, right? So like we're not talking about that. Let's stick to like my specific.
yeah, but like
case. Do you think?
Oh my god, I'm so glad I'm in this space and not this space, dude. You guys have no idea how happy I am to be existing specifically in this space. There's absolutely no way, there will be absolutely no way for me to be okay with existing in the space this retarded, okay? Like, you cannot catch me slipping, okay? You can't catch me slipping and going to this space, okay? Holy shit, they are so bad at debating. It is so cringe. Oh my god. Oh my god. Dude, these two should just fuck each other already. No, they just need to. They're already fucking each other, okay? Like, that's what debating is. Every single time two people debate, they're just having sex, okay?
like when it comes to like sending your trans kid to an anti-trans therapist, I assume that they're going to like start doing conversion therapy on you, which is abusive.
No, they're not. Okay, let's say for the sake of argument, they're not really a bad person. They're just trying to convince. Their angle is to convince the kid to like kind of live with it, because again, like being
so
trans is
repressing.
So, well, I mean, sure, if you want to use those words, if they can live with it. I know people who have had those feelings.
Why?
And they kind of live with it. They're fine with it.
Sure. Is their life quality as good as someone who doesn't have gender dysphoria, or is their life quality?
I'm sure it varies. I don't really think there's any sort of data around that being. I mean, do you have data that it's like 100% like better? I don't think like you would have data. That'd be like kind of crazy to have like that
better?
kind of data.
Bro, when you have cancer, your chances of living or dying is never 100%. No one will say it's 100% anything, bro. That's not how percentages work, bro. That's not how any of this works, okay? We can never say, oh, 100% there's gonna be a recession. Oh, 100%, is there actually a cis female lolly streamer? Yeah, of course. That's like all the fucking lolly streamers, bro. That's like almost all the fucking lolly VTuber streamers are like cis.
On that.
So
But
they know what
that's not the
men
point.
want.
The point is the intent.
I mean, we got like a suicidal like.
Is the mom? Are they being a do they have malice in what they're doing? In what I'm saying. Again, I told you their intent. Is that malice to you?
I don't think the intent matters when like the action speaks volumes of like who you are is wrong, and you need to just live with your identity in order to.
Let me ask you a question. Say there's a car crash. In one case, the person gets accidentally into a car crash and they hit a person. In the case two, the person intentionally runs them over. Do you not think that there's a difference in like the level of malice there?
I mean, in a criminal thing, like sure it matters, but like when it comes to like the harm done to the person, it is still like the same.
They're dead. The person's dead in both circumstances. They're dead.
Yeah,
you're hit by a car.
Yeah, so the outcome is the same.
With a car, is the intent the same?
Yeah.
Yes, the outcome is the same, but is the intent the same?
The outcome is the same, but like obviously like the intent is not the same.
Okay, so is one of them from malice and the other not? The other one, the person intentionally ran the person over, like fuck that guy, ran him over. Second case, complete accident. They were on their phone or something. Is it malice?
Do you
think
think
malice in the first case, and is it malice in the first case like outstanding to like the second case?
Do you think that's like the same when it comes to like not wanting your child to be trans or gay? Because the intent is the same of like I do not want my child to be trans or gay.
Yeah, but can we stick to this car thing first? Like, wait,
sure, if you intend to kill someone and you kill someone, right? Obviously, it is more malicious than like.
Isn't it crazy how much angles can change how you look? Like because the camera angle is like this, right? But then when I'm sitting like this, It's like the most unflat. Like this is literally the most unflattering angle ever. Okay, not that I care, but like I'm just like. But then if I'm sitting up like this, like the camera angle is like completely different, right? Bro, laying back just shows you're over this debate more. Yeah, I'm so over that I don't even want to present good anymore. That's how over I am. Yes. No idea how you sit through it. I earn money. Money, I guess. Like, what do you want? Yeah, it's not a 9-hour debate. It started in Mark 4:30, so it was a 5-hour debate. It was no, sorry, it was a 4.5-hour debate. Okay, it's like a 5-hour. Yeah, it's a 5-hour debate. Okay, they had a 5-hour. Oh my god!
Accidentally, I'm just like curious because like the intent when it comes to like not wanting your child to be trans or gay because you I don't know you think their life would be easier because that's like how society is. It is still like this.
Dink donk. Donate, by the way. True. You guys need to donate. Okay, I'm putting myself through this for the sake of you guys. Okay, donate immediately or die.
The same. It's still like malicious.
How is that malicious?
Because you're phrasing abuse. You're sugarcoating abuse.
How's it abuse?
Can you like okay if you have a parent who is like or like if you have like a child, right? If you have a child who is like I really want to be like I don't know, an artist. I want to have like an arts degree. I want to like do these things. And you're going to be like, no, you have to be a doctor.
You don't make that much money.
You guys now understand why the fuck people don't want to debate trans issues in Twitch poll anymore, right? Because past some point nobody wanted to debate trans issues anymore. Even the most passionate about trans people, conservative or trans person, no longer wants to debate trans issues in Twitch poll. All right, trans issue, because it's literally every day was this. Okay, literally every day or every other day would be arguments like this. Okay, of course people are gonna get chicken McFuck tired, okay, of transgender issue debates every fucking day, dude. Every day you wake up and there's a new fucking Wick TV Prime Kai Dylan Burns pin on trans issues. Oh my god, does it end?
You have to be a doctor because
you're not gonna get much money.
Yeah. So you
yeah, they say that. Yeah. In secret, they go, man, the artist really sucks. Like, it's gonna be so hard. It's gonna be hard to find a job. It's gonna be hard to make money. You know, starving artists. You know, all of the tropes. It's gonna be rough.
So instead of like supporting your kids' passion, you're telling them what they need to do.
I'm saying that from a point of love, you could say that that's the better thing. That's going to be more secure for your kid, and that in the end, like perhaps say they do become a doctor, then they can do art in their spare time. They don't have to worry about it because you're worried about the child's livelihood in general, right? So like, and the thing is, I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that that's correct. I'm saying that the angle at which that comes from is not malice. It's love because they actually want the kid to do well, and maybe that's the wrong decision. Maybe the kid is like a freaking I don't know, like Picasso or whatever, right? Maybe they are.
Why does it not matter how the kid feels?
Why does it not matter? I mean, of course it matters how the kid feels, but like reality still exists, right?
So you think that you can like
feelings and reality have to be balanced, right?
What does that mean?
Say you have a kid that said, you know, it's my dream.
I'm pretty Leaflit, by the way, I just want to say, okay? Leaflit is someone who actually watches Twitch poll, all right? I'm not sure about Nyara, but I'm pretty sure Leaflit, not only does she cover me, okay, not only does Leaflit cover me, but in addition, Leaflit also looks at Destiny debates, okay? I know this as a fact, all right? One of the Wick TV panels where Wick was debating Destiny himself over, like, Republican violence and shit, Leaflit was watching that panel, okay? And Leaflit was, like, obviously bashing Destiny over it, all right? But just so you know, okay, Leaflit in this debate is the better debater, okay? She is so wrong, okay? And the opinions are heinous, okay? But in my opinion, all right, in my humble opinion, Leaflit is the better debater here, okay? The reason for this is because it feels as though Nyara is always on the back foot because she expects Leaflit to understand that conversion therapy is inherently wrong, but Leaflit is not understanding that point and asking Nyara to explain why it's wrong. But Nyara doesn't know how to explain it because they're bad at debating. Okay. Anyway,
to shit on the sidewalk. Like I want that to be my job. I'm gonna shit on the sidewalk, and I want people to pay me for it. Wouldn't you be like, I don't know if that's viable. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know. Maybe not.
they're both bad at debating. Okay.
Just because the kid wants it doesn't mean that it's realistic.
Do you think that like that is equivalent of like a kid wanting to be like pursuing art as like a passion?
Well, pursuing something as a passion and pursuing as a career are two different things.
I mean, you know, it's like really
Because of
beneficial
reality.
for like
Because
someone.
we live in a world of reality. And if you're a parent that cares about your kid, you'd be like, you know, I don't know, maybe I mean, you probably gauge it. Maybe give them some.
Foodshops, how retarded is this Leaflit's person politics? Yeah, Nyara is a retard for not being able to verbalize those arguments. Dude, full retard. Okay, Leaflit is a neo-Nazi VTuber. Okay, just straight up a neo-Nazi VTuber. All right. Not to say that Leaflit herself is a neo-Nazi specifically, but she might as well be a neo-Nazi VTuber person. Okay. Yeah.
Art classes, see how they do, what the proficiency is in it, and maybe it's
like some of her previous videos is, oh my god, we're bringing back slavery. Ooh, so awesome and cool. Oh my god, Canada is trying to smuggle fentanyl over the border to the United States. Oh my god, I knew it. The cartels were trying to do that. Basically, just blatant Nick Fuentes type propaganda and blatant like Republican like neo-Nazi shit. Okay, like it's just straight up. All right, it's not. She's not even hiding it. Okay, she's not even hiding it, and she defends Asmongold all the way. Okay, so Leaflit was incredibly nice for like a portion of this debate in the beginning, like respecting Nyara's feelings and stuff like that. But then the mask is now slipped. The mask has now slipped down all the way, pretty much. All right, but again, just so you know, okay, very far right, very far left. Okay?
the right decision. Maybe there's some path that can be taken there. Maybe they're innovative in other skills. It's kind of, there's a lot to take in. But what I'm saying is it's not inherently hateful for the parent to tell the kid that, oh, you know, maybe pursue something else, because I think it's in your best interest.
What does it mean? Like, is it in the kid's best interest, or do you think that it's like?
Well, it might be wrong. It might.
By the way, they're going in circles now. Okay, I'm gonna skip forward because they're going in
You
circles.
go there and you get diagnosed. Do you like? It's basically.
Do
you know the paradox of tolerance? You cannot tolerate
paradox
the
of
intolerance.
tolerance.
But what if I think you're intolerant? You see what I mean? Like if you go to, I'm the victim, so therefore like you have to listen to me, and that's all it is. Full stop. You can't go anywhere. It's basically you're never gonna come. You're never gonna be able to understand the other person.
I knew it. Okay, when you call racists racist, you're being the real racist. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. No. When someone is being transphobic and you call the person being transphobic, aren't you being discriminatory yourself and tribalistic? Got him. Libtard.
Or even attempt to. You have to basically, this is why I was talking hypotheticals, so that we could find common ground. You know, by creating a meta world in which like we could both agree on, then we could come to the actual meat and potatoes of our philosophical disagreements. That's the point of it. I'm not making hypotheticals just to fuck with you, basically.
Yeah, I think defending abusers, if that is like your worldview and whatnot, then your worldview should be disagreed with.
I don't agree. I don't agree that they're abusers.
It's okay to be wrong.
Okay, well, it's okay for you to be wrong.
Oh my god.
So see, it doesn't go anywhere.
Just fuck off.
If you don't actually use any sort of logic, if it's like pure feelings, then it becomes your feelings against mine. So your feelings are like, well, I feel abused, I feel terrible. I say, well, I feel abused and I feel terrible. And then now you're just at neutral, basically, right?
Sure. It's getting pretty late.
Yeah.
I think I want to cut it here.
Motherfucker, not pretty late. You guys have been going at this for 5 hours. 5 hours. What is wrong with you people? 5 hours. What is wrong with you people? 5 fucking hours of this shit. 5 hours. 5 fucking hours. 5 fucking hours over the same like loop over and 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 over again. Oh, my chicken McWaffles.
Do appreciate the talk, but like it's incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
You guys should donate.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
I'm in pain.
Yeah, well,
I'm tired of you freeloaders. I put myself through hell listening to this.
I really do appreciate that you actually did take the time to
Oh,
talk and have this
no,
discussion.
not this.
Yeah, I'm really grateful that you were willing
Oh
to talk.
no, they're gonna smack talk each
Just
other. 100%.
so you know, just that there's like no confusion. I do not. I wanna just like emphasize that I'm still going to be like critical of you and what you do,
Doesn't
because I
Disney
think
or
what you're doing
Narcos?
is
I don't
incredibly
know,
harmful,
dude.
and
Well,
it
That's
shouldn't be normalized. You can disagree with that.
that's fair. I think that's totally fair. I mean, I'm going to be critical as well, and maybe I'll approach it a little bit differently because we had this talk, and I understand you a little bit better, so I think I will approach it a little bit differently. But I think I still.
You know what happened? Ever since people just stopped like debating each other, because debating each other is just like not good for most people. Like most people, like when they debate, like bad things happen all the time. Like look at John, okay? Like debating Destiny was like the worst mistake of his career, right? So like naturally, ever since that, nobody ever wants to debate anymore, right? But notice how, because the space no longer debates, because people don't see the best tactics when it comes to debating anymore, now when people do debate, like they debate like children again, right? It's as if nobody ever did. Like it's like we started all over, right? This is why I said that debating is a strategy. Sorry, debating is a constant practice, right? You have to constantly practice debating to be good at debating, because otherwise you're gonna forget how to debate good, right? Just like in this space, because this space has not debated for such a long time. Now, on the rare occasion that they actually do debate, right, they both sound utterly retarded, right? I don't think either side moved each other to the other side, right? I don't think that has ever happened. Not even like 1% of one side is going to be moved to the other side, right? And they're both going to be reinforced on what their own people think, right? Nobody ever has a seed of doubt like planted inside of their head, right? When it comes to this situation. So, just keep in mind, just keep in mind that like, if you don't know how to debate, okay, yeah, of course you're not going to get much mileage out of it, right? It's a skill that you have to practice constantly. You can't just run forever, right? You don't have to accept every debate if you want to be good at debating. You don't have to accept every debate, but at the very least, you should debate some people, right? You don't have to become the best debater, but you should debate some people at the very least, right? Start below, okay? Do small debates first and then work your way back up, all right, until you debate the big figures, right? You shouldn't be starting at 100%. You shouldn't be debating Steven day one, okay? You should be starting with call-in debates, and then eventually you want to work your way up to challenging other content creators who are smaller than you, or maybe bigger than you, or the same size, until you get to the really big debaters, okay? Because as far as I'm concerned, it is harmful for the space when people do not debate, okay? When people do not debate, it is harmful for the space, all right? I think that this discourse, like this entire so-called debate, is so retarded that like it just showed people like, oh my god, it's not worth it to actually debate, right? Oh, it's a waste of time to actually debate. No, it's not. It's not a waste of time if you actually know how to debate well, okay? It's just not. All right? This is how you beat your ops. You beat your ops by debating them, right? Like that is the only surefire way to actually get a victory, right? The only surefire way to get a victory is to debate, okay? Is to debate your ops in a one-on-one debate conversation in order to get disagreement settled, because it is the only way, okay? So otherwise you're always going to have ops, all right? To be fair, Leaflit likely has a right-wing audience. Other than what I've seen here, if they concede anything to, no matter how backed up in the corner, the audience would turn on her. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I don't know, like people are incredibly attached to their VTuber audiences, okay? VTuber audiences are incredibly attached to the streamer, because obviously the kinds of people who are willing to follow VTubers are people who are generally lonely people who crave some degree of who are gooners, or they don't, like, I'm just gonna be honest, they're kind of dumb, okay? Like VTuber audiences are just kind of low IQ in general, okay? So like generally speaking, they are much more like cult-like than the average like audience, okay? Much more cult-like. So you're gonna move even less people, all right? Which is why like debating as a VTuber is actually pretty generally safe, because chances of anybody leaving you over a debate is actually pretty damn small, all right? So yeah, again, like maybe they should just do it more or something, right? Because the chances of your audience turning on you is probably pretty damn low, all right? As versus someone like a male streamer who shows their face, right? These people are interchangeable. These people are everywhere, okay? Yeah, there's no real like danger to not debating. I don't know. It's just my opinion. I think people have a negative opinion of debate because they already think it's beneath them, and then when they perform badly, they'll confirm debate isn't good. Exactly. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? But there can absolutely be debates where you feel good. And yeah, like for example, when I had a good debate back in the day, I remembered that I would feel good for an entire 2 weeks because every single time I would have like a bad moment throughout the 2 weeks. I would be like, okay, but remember that one time where you utterly destroyed this person? And then I'll be like, you know what? I am actually a good person. I am actually someone who is epic and cool and based and smart and shit, right? Because the moment that you have a really good debate, then you can kind of like feel as though that you are the superior person, like you are the main character, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's a really good like confidence ego booster, okay? Which is why which is like one of the biggest benefits of debating, right? But if nothing productive came out of the debate, and if like it kind of arrived at kind of a stalemate, such as this, even though I think that, yeah, like again, even though I think that Leaflit looked better, or Leaflit like technically won the debate, in my opinion, I guess, I don't know. Like technically speaking, it doesn't really matter because I don't know, like I just don't see any like progress being made, and it's just stupid, right? Yeah, anyway, that's just my thoughts on this, okay? Does really sound like an Asmon clone? Yeah. Asmongold is like a Hydra, okay? You cut off one head and there grows like 2 other heads. That's Asmongold. Accusing Nyara of appealing to feelings when just a few minutes ago they defended conversion therapy as long as well intentioned. Well, yeah, again, people are not aware of the bad faith tactics that they use, right? Like a lot of people use bad faith tactics, but they don't notice that they are actually using them, right? And yeah, people are bad faith, but they don't realize that they are the ones being bad faith. Oh yeah, guys, please subscribe to my second channel. It would be Snack Markets, and go there and subscribe because I would really appreciate it. I'm trying to get that again to 1,000 subscribers. If you guys are not on Kick, you guys should go on Kick, okay? I still need an average of 75 viewers in the last 30 days, and I need 250 unique chatters in the last 30 days, okay? We're currently at 192 and 67.1. I just got declined, okay? I tried. Yeah, okay.